A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Jerry of the Circus. For Jerry of the Circus.
How you doing, Jerry?
Okay, most through. Golly, seems like these horses are especially thirsty this morning.
Going someplace?
No, why?
Oh, don't know. Seems like the horses are usually much thirstier days when you've got something special to do.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Whitey. As a matter of fact, I'd kind of promised Rags we'd go for a walk.
Seems like you're pretty good to that dog of yours.
Well, he's good to me, so we're even, aren't we, Rags? I haven't had much chance to take him walking lately. Golly, back there in Jackson City, we had so much business at the bank with my lawyer. Here, lady.
Your lawyer? You sound like a big businessman.
I may be one yet. You never can tell what's in that box my dad kept in that bank so long.
Oh, don't count too much on it, Jerry. I'd hate to have you be disappointed.
Oh, I won't be. Whatever it is, it's more than I thought I had.
I know, but sometimes people keep things that don't mean a thing to outsiders, but mean a lot to them.
Well, how do you mean?
Oh, well, you know, for instance, lots of mothers keep their baby's first shoes or a lock of the baby's hair.
You mean as a keepsake?
Yeah.
Okay, lady, I'll get you some more. Say, she is thirsty. Well, but people don't keep keepsakes in safety deposit boxes.
Why, sure they do. Lockets with pieces of hair in them.
But I thought a box in the bank was just for money or bonds or papers or something.
It's for most anything anybody's a mind to hide away.
Just a second till I get this water turned on. Again. Gee, I never thought of that. It might be just something you always wanted to keep.
Well, it might. And so you see, Jerry, don't count on it too much. If it's something special, you'll be surprised. And if it don't mean nothing, then you won't mind so much.
Yeah, golly, it might be most anything. Might even be something Dad didn't want anyone else to see.
That's true.
Then I shouldn't open it if it's a secret. I wouldn't want to do anything Dad'd rather I didn't.
Well, now, don't you worry, Jerry. Your dad wasn't the kind of a person that'd have anything he wouldn't want his son to know about.
Yeah, I guess that's true, all right.
Look out what you're doing. You're getting all wet.
Oh, golly, I'll say I am. Guess I'd better keep my mind on what I'm doing if I'm going to make a good impression on my boss.
Oh, don't you worry. You made a pretty good impression that first night.
I did? How?
Don't you remember the fire in the horse tent?
I'll never forget it.
Hey, any kid that can keep his head in an emergency and use it, and it's too valuable not to be kept around here.
Did you hear that, Rag? Well, I guess you'll appreciate your man. Oh, so you appreciate me already, huh?
Well, I got some work to do. I'll see you later, Jerry.
Okay, I'll be through soon. I'll be back before the matinee.
All right, I'll be seeing you then.
Here you are, lady. Now drink to your heart's content. Christ, you stay until you can't help it. Keep quiet, Rags. I'll be through in a minute, and then we'll go. What's the matter with you? Say, that is funny. Sounds like something's wrong. Just a minute, lady. I'll be back. Here, I'll put this on the floor for you. Rags, stay here with me. Here, Rags. She charged right into that soft drink stand. All those bottles and things. Where's Olsen? Hey, Mike.
Blast that bull. Ruined me stand. That's what she's done.
Well, what happened?
Well, I don't know myself. I just got here in time to see that bull go through me juice stand like it was paper.
Oh, where's Olsen?
Oh, there he is. And Jeff and Mike are right behind him with the bull hooks. Yeah, I guess that'll quiet her all
Hey,
right.
look out. Here she comes. Right for the horse stand.
Look out.
The horse stand. She's crazy.
Gertie! Jeff, get her on the other ear.
Here, right, quick. They got her. Olsen's got her.
Quick, those chains. Here. That's it.
Look, they're going to hobble her with those chains.
Well, that Olsen sure knows what to do, all right. I wish he'd done it before she ruined me business.
That's Gertie, all right. I just wonder if Zeke had something to do with this.
Zeke? Now, who's he?
He helps with the canvas. He's gotten into trouble before with these elephants.
Oh, yes, I remember. The men were talking about him.
Well, they sure got her fast. Wonder what's wrong with her. Think it's safe to get near her now?
Probably, but I'm staying away. I'm taking no chances with an animal that can go through a house like it wasn't even there.
Come on, Rags. Let's see if we can help. Hey, Olsen, can I do something?
Oh, it's you, Jerry. Blamed if I can see what's wrong with her unless someone gave her poison.
Sounds like she's heard something awful.
I guess she's gone bad, all right.
No, she's not. Someone's been tampering with this bull. I'll bet my life on it, and I'm plenty sure I know who done it. Hey, Jeff, go get some...
Olsen!
Look out there, Jerry. You'll get hit with that trunk of hers the way she's swinging it around. Something awful. She don't seem to know what she's doing.
Look here, see?
Huh? What?
Look around her eyes. Careful of that trunk.
I don't see nothing.
Looks like powder, kind of brownish.
Huh?
And her eyes are awful funny.
By golly, you're right, Jerry. Say, quick with the hose, someone.
Yeah, get that hose over here.
Hey, before you wash it off, oughtn't you to save a little of it?
Yes, I was just thinking of that. Here, give me your handkerchief, Jerry.
Here you are.
Thanks. All right. Now, careful there, Gertie.
Hey, Olsen, be careful. You'll get killed.
Oh, I won't either. There, I got some of it.
Here's the hose.
All right, over here, boys. Turn it on her face. Wash out her eyes good. That's it.
See? That was it. She's stopping crying.
Poor devil. You just wait till I get my hands on the fellow that did this. There, that's it, Gertie. That's good, boys. Yeah, that's enough. All right, turn it off, will you?
Poor thing. She just had something in her eyes. No wonder she went crazy.
Yeah, I thought I was watching out for Gertie.
Where were you?
Well, for 10 minutes I left while I was walking Gertie around the main top. Say, Sam, was Zeke on the job this morning?
Yeah, helping Murray on the main top.
Uh-huh. I thought that was it. Well, I'm heading for that tent. You want to come, Jerry? You're in on this, too, after last night.
Sure thing. Come on, Rag. What's that stuff on the handkerchief?
Well, it looks to me like snuff.
Snuff?
Yep, snuff. And if I remember correctly, Zeke used to chew it. Of all the low-down stunts.
It must burn pretty bad.
Well, like fire. Poor Gertie, it's lucky she didn't kill someone blinded like that and frightened to death.
Guess that's what he was trying to do. Get Gertie in so much trouble, they'd have to kill her, huh?
Why, sure, that's just what he was trying to do. Hey, Murray.
Oh, what's on your mind, Olsen? You look like you've been in an earthquake.
No, worse than that. Where's that guy, Zeke?
Zeke?
Yeah?
Yeah, he was around here. He should be working over on that side.
Hey, Zeke. Are you looking for Zeke?
Yeah.
He lit out of here half hour ago. Said he was tired of working and was taking it on the land.
Running away? But why?
That's it. There's no question who done it now.
Done what?
Put snuff in Gertie's eyes. She went amok over by the horse tents a little while ago.
You don't say.
Yes, I do say.
See, I heard a lot of noise over there, but we were busy, so I didn't pay much attention.
Yes, I know. Say, you. Hey, do you know where Zeke was heading for?
Sure. He caught that freighter that was loafing by here a while ago.
That's right. There was a slow freight on the tracks.
So he skipped town. Well, it's lucky for him. You know, I think if I could lay my hands on him right
gee,
now...
Olsen, you shouldn't feel so bad. After all, Gertie's all right now.
Yes. When I think of what might have happened... Well, I guess I better go and explain this whole mess to Randall.
What do you do about that soft drink stand she wrecked?
Well, it's just one of the things the circus will have to make good. You want to come along?
No, I guess Rags and I'll stay here and help Murray.
Well, all right, Jerry. I'll see you later.
Think I'll need some help?
Well, you're shy one hand.
Yeah, that's so. Guess I'll have to pick me up another one in this town. You want the job?
Sure, I'd like it.
Well, what about Whitey?
Oh, that's right. I almost forgot about our horses.
Well, I guess I'll have to get me a good husky fellow that can give me all his time and not be spending half of it with horses and trick dogs.
Oh, quit kidding me. Really, can I help now?
Sure you can. Walk around the lot and keep your eye out for any husky-looking men that look as if they might like a job.
Sure, you bet I will.
And if you find anyone, bring them right over to me.
You bet. And I'll find you someone, too.
That's swell, and I'll be seeing you.
Yep. Come on, Riggs. We gotta go scouting for a husky-looking guy that wants a job. Let's walk on back and see what happened to Gertie. Oh, Mike.
Do you want me?
Yeah, I just wondered what you were going to do about the soft drink stand of yours.
Well, I'm just now heading for the phone. I got to order some things so I can get it fixed up.
Was much stuff broken?
Yeah, all the bottles in the place. Say, Gertie's feet went through those cases like they was eggs.
Oh, gee, that's tough.
Well, it's all part of the game. First accident I've had in years, so I guess maybe I've got me turn coming. But I wonder what got into her.
A fella threw some snuff in her eyes.
No.
Yeah, it was all around her lid.
Well, no wonder she went berserk.
It was that Zeke I told you about. Olson and I went to check a few minutes ago, and it looks like he skipped the show.
You don't say.
Yeah, and now Murray's short-handed, and I'm out looking for some strong fellow who might like a job at the circus.
Well, say, there was a guy looking for a job. I heard him asking Jim Bennett at the office wagon not an hour ago for something to do.
Really? I wonder if he's still around.
He was hanging around when that elephant went off her head. I saw him.
What's he look like?
Oh, nothing special. He had a cap pulled down over his head and face. It looked kind of pale. But he was a great big fella.
Gee, wish I could find him.
Well, say, there he is now over there talking to Whitey. Yeah, he must be asking him for a job.
Gee, thanks, Mike. I'll see. He looks like a big enough. If he's kind of white and peaky, though.
Well, they all get fat and healthy looking after they've been with this outfit for a while.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, I'll be seeing you.
Okay,
That's for the
Jerry.
tip.
And say, when I get set up again, come on over and have a bottle of pop on the house, will you?
Really? Say thanks. I'll be there. Come on, Reg. We got a big day ahead. Gee, we're in luck finding someone so easy. Well, it looks like he might do all right. Hope Mike's right and he really wants a job. Hi there, Whitey.
Hello there, Jerry. Hey, I didn't expect to see you again till after lunch. What about that walk?
Well, guess we kind of got sidetracked with all the excitement with Gertie. Did you see it?
Nope, I just got back in time to see him sweeping up the bottles to Mike's stand. Sorry, Bo, but I guess I can't help you none. I got all the hands we can use now.
Excuse me for butting in, but are you looking for a job?
Yeah. I guess it's not my lucky day, though.
Well, the boss canvassman just sent me out scouting for an extra man. He's got a job over there for someone who's not afraid to work.
You don't say.
Yeah. Want to meet him?
I sure do.
Well, I'm still walking, Whitey. Back after lunch.
Okay, Jerry.
Is this your dog?
Yeah, you beaut.
Good friends, dogs. You can trust them.
You bet you can.
Guess I traveled around too much to ever have one. I like them, though. Say, thanks, kid, for telling me about the job.
Oh, that's nothing. Glad to do Murray a favor. Hope you'll do.
Yeah, so do I. I need it plenty bad, and I'm willing to work, too.
Lever Brothers Company presents the Pepsodent program, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin. Pepsodent presents Philip Marlowe, Hollywood's famous private detective created by Raymond Chandler. Philip Marlowe, tough, cynical private eye of Murder My Sweet, the sardonic, case-hardened detective of The Brasher Doubloon, The Lady in the Lake, and The Big Sleep. You've seen him in action in all of those top-flight mystery pictures. Now, in order that you may continue to enjoy this exciting mystery series, Pepsodent brings you The Adventures of Philip Marlowe on the air with a cast of noted radio players and starring MGM's brilliant and dynamic young actor, Van Heflin.
There was a rough desert wind blowing into Los Angeles that evening. It was one of those hot, dry Santa Anas that come down through the mountain passes and curl your hair, make your nerves jump and your skin itch. On nights like that, every booze party ends up in a fight, and meek little housewives feel the edge of a carving knife and study their husbands' necks. Anything can happen when the Santa Ana blows in from the desert. I closed up my office early. I got tired of reading Philip Marlowe, private investigator, backwards in the ground glass of my office door. So I opened the door and closed it from the outside and locked it and went out to get a beer before I went up to my apartment.
Filler up again, Mr. Marlin?
Marlowe. Marlin is a fish.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, you bartender. Come in on the ride.
Drunk again. What'd you expect in this business? Autograph hounds?
Make it snappy, yeah?
Be right with you, sport. I gotta draw this man a beer. God, loud, these stubble bums that come in here.
You got another customer, Bacchus?
Hey, Bud. You seen a lady in here lately?
A lady?
Tall, good-looking, brown hair, a print bolero jacket, and a blue silk dress.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Nobody like that's been in.
All right, straight Scotch, fast. I left my engine running out there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This slick-looking, sarcastic guy stepped up to the bar and drank his Scotch whole. Then he turned to go out, and he stopped. The drunk was grinning at him. And then, without changing his grin, the drunk swept a gun from somewhere so fast it was just a blur coming out. Made a couple of hard snaps, and a little smoke curled. Very little.
All right, you other guys. Don't move. So long, Waldo. All right, don't move, you two. Oh, Waldo. But I made his nose bleed. So long, boys. Drink up.
All right, get on that phone, kid. I'll get his license number. Holy smoke. Holy smoke. Not too late. Drove away with this dead guy's car.
Maybe he ain't dead.
He's dead, all right. Where's your phone? This is for the police. The prowl car boys were there in about 5 minutes. Waldo was out of business, all right. And nothing in his pockets told who he was, but he had about $700 on him. I told the cops what I knew, including about Waldo's tall, brown-haired pretty girl in the bolero jacket. It was about 9 o'clock when I stepped out of the elevator in my apartment house and almost walked right into a tall, brown-haired pretty girl in a bolero jacket, waiting for the elevator on my floor.
Oh, excuse me.
Just a minute, lady.
I said, excuse me, I'm in a hurry. Else you'll be good enough
Look,
to
you
step
better
out.
not go outside in those clothes.
Just what do you mean by telling me
This
that?
isn't a make. You're in trouble.
Trouble?
Yeah, the cops are looking for you in those clothes.
But I haven't done anything that's...
I'm in room 41 across the hall now. I never collected an etching in my life.
All right, I'll go with you. I'll go.
I got to my room and rustled up some scotch and soda and brought the girl her glass. She had a small automatic in her hand. It jumped up at me, and her eyes were full of panic. I put down both glasses on the table slowly so that I wouldn't be misunderstood. Look, sister, maybe this wind has got you crazy, too.
Don't move. Careful, don't move.
A man just got shot in a bar down the street. Before he got it, he'd been asking about a tall, pretty girl with a bolero jacket, like yours.
What did he look like? This man.
Tall, 5'11", slim, dark brown eyes with a lot of glitter, dark suit, white handkerchief in the breast pocket. And he must have seen you earlier tonight to know how you were dressed. Am I getting anywhere?
He used to be my chauffeur.
You had an appointment with him, didn't you?
Why?
Listen, he asked for you, didn't he?
Yes, I had an appointment with him. He'd stolen something from me when he left 3 days ago. I was going to buy it back from him.
Why didn't you tell the police?
I couldn't tell them.
It was valuable, wasn't it? Valuable enough for Waldo to steal?
$15,000.
Oh, it's peanuts.
But it wasn't a value. It meant something to me. The man I loved gave it to me, and now he's dead. He was a flyer shot down over Germany. I'll go back and tell my husband that. He probably hired you.
He did? Well, how much is he paying me? And where is this husband of yours?
He's at a meeting.
This late at night?
He's a very important man. He's a hydroelectric engineer. I'll let you know that my husband is one of the...
Skip it. I'll take him out to lunch sometime and have him tell me himself. And about Waldo. Whatever he had on you is dead stock now, like Waldo himself.
He's dead. Waldo's dead?
Yes, sister, he's dead. Dead. Lady, he is dead.
Oh.
Now scream and I'll give you 2 black eyes.
I'm not going to scream. Who would that be?
There's a dressing room behind that door. Hide there. Now, don't argue with me. Do it.
All right.
And I went to the door, making a loud, yawning sound. The backs of my hands were wet. I opened the door. Without a gun. That was a mistake. I certainly knew the gun I was looking into. A .22 target automatic that had already killed one man that night. And I knew the bald head and the flat, shiny eyes and a face like a poisonous lizard. Baldy put the muzzle of his gun lightly against my throat. I backed into the room, and Baldy kicked the door shut.
You alone?
Look for yourself.
I'm asking, not looking.
I'm alone.
You and that dumb bartender saw me dust off Waldo.
What did Waldo do to you?
Who's asking?
Just making conversation.
You stood on me on a bank job we did together. Got me 4 years in Michigan pen. How is he?
Dead?
I'm still good, drunk or sober. Tell me why I came here, pal.
You heard the barkeeper and me talking. I told him my name, where I lived.
That's how, pal. I said why.
Skip the hangman would ask you to guess why he's there.
Well, you're pretty tough at that, ain't you? But you're slamming off, pal.
All right, but you could get that gun out of my neck and try somewhere else.
Oh, yeah, sure. Is this better? This suits you all right?
So it is my neck.
Save when, pal? It's your party.
I leaned against the gun. The door at the dressing room showed a crack of darkness. The crack widened. I began to shake a little. The girl came quietly into the room, but there was white all around her eyes. She was scared. She had her gun in her hand, but I was sorry for her. Dead sorry. She'd try to make the door scream either way. It'd be curtains for both of us.
You scared, mister? You worried about any little thing?
I couldn't talk. The girl floated in the air somewhere behind Baldy, and her horrified face was drifting toward us. My mouth was as cold and dry as yesterday's toast.
Well, kid, how's it feel? You ready yet? Go on, say the word.
Well, don't take all night about it if you're going to do something about it.
Why not, pal? I like this.
Well, suppose I yell.
Go ahead, yell. Go ahead.
Hey, look!
Oh?
Thanks, sister. Thanks. That buys me. Everything I have is yours now and forever. You flatter me knowingly. I only punched him. All right, now get out of here while I call the cops down on this killer.
Good night.
Hey, wait. Leave that Blair jacket here. March you for the cops.
Oh, yes, here.
Okay. See you again?
What?
Oh, I don't know. No, I guess not. After all, who am I to be the rival of a dead flyer? I'll see that the police get Jesse James here. Good night, lady. Yeah? Me?
Yes, please.
Oh, you. Again, huh?
Sit in. I must talk to you.
You want to know what happened at headquarters, huh?
Yes.
Well, I went down there with the law and gave them the story. I left you out of it.
Thank you.
You saved my life, so no one knows a thing about you. Well, incidentally, neither do I.
Well, my name is Mrs. Frank Barsley. 212 Fremont Place, Olympia 24596. Is that what you want?
I guess so.
Well, There he is.
Now, why did you really come back?
I wanted my pearls.
Pearls?
Yes.
Pearls, too, huh? All right. Tell me about the pearls. You've had a murder and a beautiful mystery woman and a sadistic killer and a heroic rescue. Now we will have pearls.
I was to buy them back from a man called Waldo.
Well, I saw everything that came out of his pockets, and there weren't any pearls.
Could they be hidden in his apartment?
It's possible.
Waldo lived on the same floor you do in his apartment house.
And why didn't I know him, at least by sight?
He moved in last week and managed to get a sublet.
Great, a sort of an amateur magician on the side, huh?
It's getting rather late.
Yeah. What about your husband this hot, mysterious night?
He's still at his meeting.
You could have brought him along. You could have sat in the back seat working out a problem in hydroelectrics while...
While what?
Well, I didn't have any answers that wouldn't sound cheap or just ridiculous if from the sophomore class the radar team had an unlit cigarette in my hand. I threw it out of the window. I took a hold of her and kissed her. She sat very still. I was shaking when I let go of her. Her voice trembled a little when she spoke.
And then should you do that? I wasn't always that way. Only since Johnny Dalmas was killed in the war. He gave me those pearls. 41 of them perfectly matched with the diamond propeller clasp. I'd have loved them if they'd been wooden beads because he gave them to me. I love Johnny. The way you love just one time. You understand me?
What's your name?
Lola.
Lola, how did you explain a $15,000 pearl necklace to your husband?
I told him we were imitation and I bought for myself.
How did Waldo latch onto them, what they stood for?
When my husband was in Argentina, Waldo and I'd go for long drives. I was restless and wretched because of Johnny. Sometimes Waldo and I had a little drink together, but that's all.
But you confided in Waldo about this pearl.
I was a fool.
And when your husband came back, Waldo stole the pearls and offered to sell them back to you, or he'd tell Papa, huh?
I was a fool.
And now you think the pearls are upstairs in Waldo's apartment?
I suppose it's a lot to ask.
No, sweetheart. I've been paid. I'll go look. We're here. Has it gone long, Lola?
No. Pearls?
No.
No pearls?
No pearls.
Oh.
There was a man in Waldo's room.
Man? Who?
You know a man named Leon Bastanos?
Not by name. I don't know.
Mexican, South American, about 45, small, iron gray hair, very neat, fawn-colored suit, wine-colored tie.
No, I don't think I know such a man. Is he the one in Waldo's room?
Yeah.
What does he have to say?
Very little. In fact, nothing. He's dead. I sat with Lola Barsley in a car listening to that jittery, infuriating desert wind gallop around in the midnight streets. I just told her about the Latin-looking man I'd found in Waldo's room in a very dead condition. I held her hands until they stopped trembling. Then I gave her the few remaining details. He had a gun in a shoulder holster, but someone had strangled him before he could use it.
Someone? Waldo?
Maybe. You see that convertible coupe two cars ahead of us?
Been there for hours. He's there at that parked here to wait for you.
Leon, the man in Waldo's room, came in that car, but according to the key containers he carried, that isn't his car.
Whose car is it? Does it matter?
Well, it belongs to a lady according to the tag on the keys.
A lady?
Well, anyway, a woman, if you can split hairs. Eugenie Kolchenko, in West Los Angeles?
Never heard of her.
Uh-huh. All right, well, you go home now, huh?
What are you going to do?
Drive that flossy convertible around, wave at my friends, impress people. You run along now. Me, I've got another date.
Yes? What is it, please?
Miss Eugenie Kolchenko?
Yes? What is it?
Did you lose or misplace a pigeon gray convertible coupe?
What are you saying?
Now, don't be alarmed. I found it and I brought it home to you.
Come in, please. This is a reward you wish. Shall we say...
Snap out of it, Dragon Lady. Who was he?
Who? What's who?
The little guy, Leon. You loaned your car to. He's dead. Who was he?
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, yes.
Eugenie.
Darling, come here, please.
What's the matter, honey? Who is this man?
I came about Miss Kolchenko's car.
What about her car?
The gentleman who borrowed it couldn't return it on account of he isn't alive.
She's dead. Darling, she's dead.
Well, that's putting it more bluntly, of course.
Dead, eh?
Completely.
Who are you?
Philip Marlowe, private investigator. My card.
Mm-hmm. You told the police yet?
Never do at once what can be deferred pending negotiations. He's some.
I might negotiate.
Oh, peachy.
What do you know, Marlowe?
A man named Waldo was shot in a bar tonight. I happened to have the inside as to who he was, and when I visited his apartment tonight, I found this Leo Balsanos dead.
He wouldn't have had $500 in 20s on him, would he?
No, but this Waldo had over $700 on him when he was killed at that cocktail bar, mostly in 20s.
Hmm.
Is there a basis there for negotiations yet?
Very well, Marlowe. I'm a married man. There were certain unpaid bills for some stuff Miss Kolchenko here had charged to my account.
But you told me I might charge to your account.
All right, so I wasn't very bright.
That might be the understatement of the decade, but go on.
I had the unpaid bills safely in my briefcase. Somehow this Waldo had a chance to steal the briefcase. I hired Leon and gave him $500 to buy back those bills from Waldo.
Instead, Waldo took Leon's dough and was forced to kill Leon in the process. And then he went out to keep another date and accidentally walked into an old pal hostile enough to blow him down.
And someone still has those bills. And I didn't furthermore so.
The man who shot Waldo got away in Waldo's car with your briefcase in it. Yeah, that could be. The cops caught him.
Oh. And the police have the briefcase.
Maybe. But the police are interested in solving crime, not in tossing mud for the benefit of sensation eaters. Look, I've got a friend or two at headquarters. Let me see what I can do.
It's worth $500 to me.
Well, then that's what it'll cost you.
Well, good luck. And, thank you, Mr.
Marlowe. Philip Marlowe, remember?
My name is Frank Barsley.
Barsley. Oh?
What does that mean?
The big hydroelectric engineer?
Yeah. How did you know?
My voices tell me.
Who?
Darling, this man is manifestly insane.
It's the heat, Miss Kolchenko. It's the Santa and it's the desert wind. May I use your telephone? Someday I must tell you about Ibarra. Salt of the earth, Ibarra, detective lieutenant over Central Homicide. I phoned Ibarra from Miss Kolchenko's house and told him where he could find a well-dressed cadaver named Leon and furnished a few small details. I gave Ibarra time to check my tip and then I went down to see the good lieutenant and told him why I'd been up in Waldo's room, only to find Leon instead of a certain lady's string of pearls.
Pearls, eh?
Well, I thought Waldo might have them up there.
Whose pearls were they?
A lady's.
Go on.
Or they might have been in Waldo's car that Waldo's killer drove away in.
Yeah.
Well, what, yeah?
They might have.
Also a batch of unpaid bills charged to the account of a certain Frank Barsley?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, now, the police aren't interested in domestic scandal. They want to prevent or to solve crime, right?
So?
So I've got $500 for the police fund if those pearls and those bills are returned to their rightful owners.
Oh, quit your kid.
No, it's a valuable necklace.
Yeah? There's your necklace.
That's it. 41 pearls, perfectly matched diamond propeller clasp. That's it. That's the one.
Take it away, Marlowe.
On the level?
Just tell me straight what it's all about, all that.
Sure. Well, this Waldo was blackmailing a wife with the pearls, and her husband with the bills, by the name of Barsley. Well, Barsley sent Leon to get the bills from Waldo. Instead, Waldo killed Leon, then stepped out and happened to get shot by that guy at the bar. Now, if Barsley's name stays out of the paper, I get $500, and that goes to the police fund.
We'll keep him out.
Well, now, I'm not in this case for money. I just want to get back the bills and the pearls.
As you say, Marlowe, the police aren't in business to sling mud.
Well, you can deliver the pearls to the lady herself if you like.
No, Marlowe. You better take them to her. You see, except for the diamond propeller clasp on them, they're phony.
Phony? But...
All but the clasp, Marlowe. All but the clasp. So the flyer, Johnny Dalmas, the great lover, had given Lola a string of fake pearls. Well, I didn't know how to tell her, but I called her up and told her to meet me at the beachcombers at 2. I was going to slip her the bad news slowly.
I'm glad you asked me to meet you here, Mr. Marlowe. See, I had to have someone to talk to.
Go ahead. Talk, honestly.
Now, Mr. Marlowe, now more than ever, I must have those pearls.
Why? Money trouble?
Oh, no. It's just that everything's gone wrong. And this morning my husband told me we're to separate.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lola.
But if I had Johnny's pearls, it would be a link with the past, and with Johnny. And all he meant to me. It's how a woman feels, Mr. Marlowe. I wouldn't blame you for not understanding.
Maybe I do, though.
So please, Mr. Marlowe, please, we'll try to find my pearls.
Lola, look,
Even if it isn't all of them. Any part of them. Any single smallest one of them. It'll be Johnny's.
Look, will you meet here again around 4 o'clock?
I'll be here.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. There was only one earthly decent thing I could do. I took Lola's glass pearls to a jeweler, and I had him take off the diamond clasp, put her on one of those strings of so-called simulated pearls that they sell you for $3, tax included. Then I went back to keep my 4 o'clock date with Lola at the Beachcombers.
Well, Mr. Marlowe, anything new?
Yes, the police found some pearls in Waldo's car.
They found my pearls?
No, not exactly.
Not exactly.
Well, Waldo was getting set to jip you, Lola. He had the diamond clasp of your necklace attached to a string of cheap imitations, and then he sold the real pearls.
Oh, how... Oh.
These are the imitations here.
Yes. But it is my clasp. The clasp is real.
Is that all right?
Yes, it's the clasp that Johnny Dalmas gave me. Of course it's all right.
Oh, that's swell.
And thank you so much, Mr. Marlowe.
Forget it.
I won't. Not if... Well, is this goodbye?
Yeah, I think so. You'll never get over Johnny Dalmas, Lola. If anybody ever bothers you again, though, well, let me know. Name's Philip Marlowe. I drove almost to Malibu and then I parked and walked out on the rock cliff. Then I reached in my pocket and dug out the string of Bohemian glass pearls that Lieutenant Ibarra found in Waldo's car. I cut the knot at one end and slipped the pearls off one by one. One by one, I flipped them into the water. Gulls swooped down on them, and they flapped up again, screaming indignantly. The phony pearls had fooled Waldo and Lola Barsley, but they couldn't fool a seagull. I said to myself, to the memory of Johnny Dalmas, just another four-flusher. I listened a while to the wheeling seagulls. All at once I realized that the wind had died. The Santa Ana had blown itself out. The red wind was done. It was over.
You have just heard Van Heflin, starring in the first of a new mystery series, Raymond Chandler's The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, brought to you by the Lever Brothers Company, makers of Pepsodent. Tonight's story on the adventure of Philip Marlowe is based on Red Wind, written by Raymond Chandler, creator of Philip Marlowe, the screen's most famous private detective. Was adapted for radio by Milton Geiger. Heard with Van Heflin was Lorene Tuttle as Lola Barsley. And this is Wendell Niles inviting you to listen again next week at this same time to another exciting story on The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, starring Van Heflin with a distinguished cast.
Washington, calling Counterspy. Washington, calling Counterspy.
Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington. Harding, Counterspy, calling Washington.
The Blue Network presents Philip H. Lord's Counterspy. Germany has its Gestapo, Italy its Obra, and Japan its Black Dragon. But matched against all of these secret enemy agents are Uncle Sam's highly trained counter-spies. Visualize ace counter-spy of them all as David Harding. In Washington, Brigadier General Whitcomb sat in his private office at a large oak desk. Standing in front of him was First Lieutenant John O'Brien.
Lieutenant O'Brien.
Yes, sir?
I have another mission for you. A most important mission.
Yes, General?
Let's see. You've been my official messenger for 7 years, correct?
9 years, sir.
9 years. Well, Lieutenant, you've been most methodical, resourceful, and diligent.
Thank you, sir.
Now, this envelope contains certain very important documents. They concern changing some of our heavy artillery on the West Coast. Carry it inside your uniform. Now, I want you to deliver these to the commander of the San Francisco fortifications. Deliver them right into his own hands and to no other living person.
Yes, sir. Shall I fly, sir?
No, I don't want to call attention to your mission in any way. Just quietly get on the train, as though you were carrying nothing of any importance. There's a transcontinental train tonight at 10 o'clock, Lieutenant.
Yes, sir, there is. All I've got to do is go back to my hotel room and cancel several engagements I had, sir. Hello? Hello? Oh. This is Lieutenant O'Brien calling. No, I can't take you to the theater tonight. No, I'm not fooling. Oh, a new dress? Honestly, I'm awfully sorry, but I've just received instructions to leave for San Francisco. Yes, San Francisco. Well, I'll be back in about a week, and then I'll see you every night.
Tickets, please.
Oh, hey, conductor.
Oh, going to San Francisco, Lieutenant. Don't you want a berth in the sleeper? Got several vacancies.
No, thank you. I guess I'll sit up.
San Francisco's a long way to ride in the day coach.
No, I'm used to it. Is the storm delaying us much?
Well, let's see. After midnight. Well, we're about half an hour late.
Thank you.
Well, Lieutenant, I hope you don't get...
With the light. Why'd it go out?
It may have something to do with the storm, madam.
I'm afraid. It's so dark.
Who are you?
Take your hands off me.
Just a minute.
Conductor, something terrible has happened.
What happened, madam?
We heard a fight. A glass breaking.
Where?
About 3 or 4 seats in front of me. Turn your flashlight upstairs.
We can't get the lights on. Somebody's cut the wires.
Right there. See?
Why, the glass is broken out. And blood.
Oh, that's where the army officer was sitting.
He must have been thrown out the window. Hold on, everybody. I'm going to pull the emergency. Calling in. G8. Calling in. Mr. Harding. This is Harding. Go ahead. We located, placed by tracks, where Lieutenant O'Brien's body landed. There was a great deal of blood.
We traced footprints from there 100 yards to the main road. Somebody had a car parked there. There were some tread marks of car in dirt beside road.
Are you making plaster casts of footprints in the car tread?
Yes, sir. They'll be ready by morning, sir.
Good. Stand by for further instructions.
Throwing O'Brien off that train was certainly a carefully planned job, Mr. Harding.
Yes, Davis, it was no ordinary job. The only ones who knew about those plans being sent were the higher-ups. I've had every move Lieutenant O'Brien made checked carefully. This job has all the earmarks of a high-class, sophisticated plot. Davis, I want somebody to do some special work for me who travels in high Washington circles.
Couldn't we get one of our own operators into that circle?
We could. But I want somebody already there, some prominent person who wouldn't be suspected of working with us. I'm going to talk to Lady Ashton.
She's helped you before.
She's a social leader, and she can be trusted. Now, Lady Ashton, I need a woman who's fairly young, beautiful, sophisticated, worldly, who travels in Washington's higher social set.
I see. Have you anyone specially in mind, Mr. Harding?
Yes. Norma Brayley. She's a French refugee. She's invited everywhere. She's continental.
And very beautiful. You're sure this is all business, Mr. Harding?
She is attractive. But if Miss Brayley would be willing to work with me and follow my instructions, she could be of great help.
And you wish me to give a dinner so that you may meet her?
Well, in Washington here, Lady Ashton, I'm often watched very carefully. I'd like to have the meeting appear to be a chance one.
How about dinner Friday? I'll see that you meet Miss Brayley socially then.
That'd be fine, Lady Ashton. I'll be there.
Yes, but you must have some opinions on how the war is going, Mr. Harding.
I know how it's going to go, Miss Brayley. Can we walk over to the other side of the room for a minute?
Yes, certainly. You know, I think Lady Ashton gives the most entertaining evenings of any hostess in Washington.
She's a very charming person. Miss Brayley.
Yes?
I don't want to be seen talking to you too long, so I'll come right to the point.
Oh, you sound very serious, Mr. Harding.
You're a French refugee, Miss Brayley. You fled Paris just before it fell. Your entire family is still there.
Well, how did you know that?
More people are investigated nowadays than they think. Now, Miss Brayley.
Yes?
Would you take some risks if you thought you really could be of help against our mutual enemy?
Oh, I'd do anything in the world. Everything is a risk nowadays.
I need someone who travels in Washington's best society. I need someone who's never been connected with counterspying in any way. Someone of courage, insight, sophistication.
You mean me?
Yes. We're on a very hard and difficult case right now. I need someone just like you. In fact, you.
But I don't think I'm qualified for such an important undertaking, Mr. Harding. I've never had any training.
You won't need any, Miss Brayley. You'll do exactly as I tell you.
And you really think I can help?
Very definitely.
Then I'll do anything you ask. It's the least I can do.
You will be in danger. The ring I referred to has just murdered one Army officer.
I'm not easily frightened, Mr. Harding. I went through a good deal before I escaped to the United States.
Then it's agreed. Now, I believe something very important is going to break later tonight. Now, any calls I make to you must be made in such a way that they can't be traced. Now, tomorrow morning at 10:30, go to the Farnsworth Drugstore on Maple Street.
Yes.
There are 3 telephone booths there. Go into the middle booth. Make several telephone calls so you can hold the booth, so no one else will be using the phone. Now hang up the receiver at exactly 11:30. Now I have that phone number. I'll do the same thing on the other end of town so that my call to you will be from one telephone booth to another. So the call can't be traced.
I'll be there, Mr. Harding, right to the second.
And be sure and don't call me by name over the phone.
Hello?
Who are you?
I'm in a telephone booth by appointment for a call at exactly 11:30.
Good. Now listen carefully. That's Sir Harold Palmer. Arrived late last night in Washington from Ontario, Canada. We've been watching him up there for over 3 months. He's not really of the nobility. We believe his credentials are false, but we've not been able to make sure.
Yes?
Now, this is the first time that Sir Harold has left Canada. And it's so close to that event which happened on a train 4 nights ago, we believe there may be some connection. Now, I've arranged for Lady Action to give a ball on this coming Wednesday evening. Somehow it will be arranged so Sir Harold will be there. I want you to meet Sir Harold Palmer at that ball. Lady Action will introduce you to him. Flatter him. Get to know him.
I'll do my best.
You have a small automatic? One you can carry in your purse?
Yes.
Keep it with you at all times. That's all for now.
Sir Harold, we're so delighted you came this evening.
Very kind of you to invite me, Lady Ashton. I just come down from Canada. I'm really quite a stranger in Washington.
Sir Harold, I want you to meet a guest of mine, Miss Bailey.
Oh. How do you do, Miss Bailey?
Good evening, Sir Harold.
I've been admiring Miss Bailey all evening, hoping I might have the opportunity of meeting her.
There, Norma. Men gave up saying things like that to me years ago.
Oh, no, they didn't, Lady Ashton.
Will you dance this one with me, Miss Bailey?
I'd love to, Sir Harold. I've been admiring your dancing.
Question and lady has spent the evening at the theater, later attended Crescent Club, and he has just now taken her home.
Place operator 7 is made on his floor at hotel. That is all.
G8 reporting. Gentleman in question and lady went for a drive out of Washington. Stopped at Mayflower Club on Highway 3 for dinner and dancing. Has just returned to Washington.
If gentleman orders theater tickets for play opening Friday, she gets 2 A seats in 4th row, center aisle. That is all.
G8 reporting. Operator 6 followed couple in question this morning. She went shopping and he accompanied her. Overheard conversation indicating they are planning to meet this evening in his hotel room.
Check.
You know, Sir Harold, it is rather unusual in this country for a young woman to go up to the hotel room with a man, unless they're engaged or something.
Is that so? Very interesting. Well, continuing, we had in our home for many years what I could call as fine a collection of pastoral art as there is outside of a museum. We very seldom went out of an evening. The paintings were so beautiful, landscaping of all kinds.
Yes, I see.
Am I boring you with this long dissertation on art, Miss
It was just a question.
Did you yawn?
Oh, no, most certainly not. Continue.
Tell me more about these oil paintings in Dorchester.
You shouldn't have come here. Well, come in.
I'm sorry, Mr. Harding, but I didn't know what to do.
I know, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning, Norma. Come up to my hotel room and suppose those who might be watching me wise to the fact that you're working with me.
But something terribly important has happened, Mr. Harding.
What?
Well, Sir Harold kept talking and talking about art so late that I asked him to order some food. And when he went into the adjoining room to telephone room service, I had a chance to look in several drawers, and I found these papers.
Let me see them.
I had this little gun with me in my bag, but, well, no woman would ever have to show it to Sir Harold. Here.
Have you looked at these?
Yes, they're reports. And they state very clearly they concern confidential information between the United States and Canada.
Yes. And this one even goes so far as to mention certain fortifications.
Well, then it's the information you want?
Not the exact information, but it very definitely shows Sir Harold is working against the interests of the United States and Canada. But you should not have come here, Norma. In fact, you shouldn't have taken these papers.
Yes, but why? Now you've got proof against Sir Harold.
Yes, but he'll miss these papers, and you'll know you've tricked him and disappear.
Oh, then I haven't helped.
Oh, yes, you've helped.
Do you suppose that's someone who saw me come up here to your room? Have I caused you more trouble?
Unless I miss my guess, this is a report that Sir Harold has already left. Hello?
G8 reporting. Sir Harold has checked out of hotel. Has ordered car from nearest garage. Shall I replace chauffeur?
No. It's too dangerous at this point. Drop his trail. Tell operator 37 to pick it up.
Yes, sir.
I never felt so badly in my life, Mr. Harding. I feel that I've bungled the whole thing.
Oh, don't feel that way, Norma. You just accomplished so much more than I expected, I wasn't ready for it.
You're not just saying that.
No. I mean it.
Oh, I'd rather hear you say something like that than anyone else.
Now, of course, the artillery plans which were stolen from Lieutenant O'Brien have already been changed. A new set of plans is being sent to California Saturday night by plane. We'll wait and see if the Gestapo makes an attempt to get those new plans Saturday night.
I see. But what can I do, Mr. Harding?
Now, tomorrow night, dress very simply.
Yes.
Take the bus, the Maryland bus, to the end of the line. Get off there and wait for me. Things have taken a pretty serious turn. Tomorrow night should tell us a lot.
Mr. Harding, can you tell me now where we're going?
To a little farmhouse about 10 miles further down the road.
Well, why are we going there?
We have a shortwave listening set there. There's nothing near the farmhouse. The reception's excellent.
And you still think I can be of help?
Very definitely.
Good.
But I can't tell how until we hear this shortwave broadcast tonight. See, every Tuesday and Saturday night, from 1:15 to 1:30 in the morning, there's a shortwave broadcast by a bootleg station to Germany. We've been listening in on it for several weeks.
But who's doing the broadcasting?
Gestapo agents. In fact, we'll both listen in tonight.
Oh, I've never seen so much electrical equipment, Mr. Harding.
Now, you sit down here beside me, Norma. Now, take these earphones. I'm calling another shortwave station of our own. One of my men's operating it. 42B. 42B. Come in on 24.5 megacycles. Come in.
Your signal is weak, but I can get it.
Come in.
Proceed according to schedule. That will be 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Then meet me at appointment. You get it?
Exactly 3 minutes, 10 seconds, and we'll contact.
That is all.
Was that a shortwave station in another phone hole?
No. It was a portable sending and receiving set in a car. That's why I didn't have too much power.
Oh.
Now, you don't understand German, do you, Norma?
No, I don't.
Then I'll interpret for you. Broadcast we should be picking up right now. Now, take these earphones. He's making contact. You'll hear him in a minute.
And this radio station we're hearing is operating illegally in direct contact with Berlin?
Yes. But we've got it spotted.
Auf Welle 24.500 nach Berlin. Achtung! Geheimbericht von größter Wichtigkeit.
He's just saying he's got some real news tonight.
Auf Welle 24.500 nach Berlin. Die Pläne zur Befestigungsanlagen der nordamerikanischen Westküstenverteidigung sind plangemäß gestohlen worden.
He's talking about the West Coast fortification papers that were stolen from us.
Leichtigkeit überwunden. Die beiliegenden Dokumente sind in unserem Besitz.
Telling Berlin that the Gestapo have the papers, but the question is how to get them out of the country.
Die Überseesendungen sind schärfstens überwacht. Revidierte Pläne werden Sonnabend an die Westküste per Flugzeug gesandt.
Now he's saying revised plans are to be sent to the West Coast this Saturday night.
Das Problem ist, die Pläne aus dem Lande zu schleppen.
Get those hands up, quick!
Who are you? Get out of here!
You make a move, I'll shoot. The United States Counterspy. Now give your hands up. Move away from that broadcasting microphone.
They're being captured.
But this is just an amateur sending set.
Oh, yeah? Put the cuffs on him, Frank. We've already got the cuffs on your 3 pals, the 2 downstairs and 1 in the other room. Take them out, boys. Remember, these 4 are the ones who murdered Lieutenant O'Brien. This shortwave set won't be used anymore tonight or any other night.
Well, Norma, you really heard something that time.
They were really captured by your men?
They certainly were. Right now, they're being taken away so fast they don't know what's happening.
Yes, but how did it happen just right then?
That was the message I sent out the first thing I came into this room. We had everything set. Come on. I want to drive back and face them.
Where are we going now, Dave?
We've got a place where we hide people like them away for a while.
A prison?
Well, sort of a private prison with their steel bars and escape-proof devices. That's what you mean. After that, it's the firing squad. All these people in these cells, Norma, are agents of the Gestapo or the Japanese Black Dragon. Let's go into this cell now. Wait.
Oh, it's horrible. These prisoners just look at us. You can see in their eyes, they know they're going to be shot.
Oh, guard. Yes, sir? Check and see if a Sir Harold Palmer has been brought in yet. If he has, bring him to this cell.
All right, sir.
Here. Sit down in this cot, Norma. We may have quite a little wait.
Dave, how did you catch Sir Harold?
We'll let him do the talking when he gets here. Norma, let me tell you something, because something very startling is about to happen. Lieutenant John O'Brien was a confidential messenger for the Army. On his last mission, he was murdered in a train while the lights were out. The window was broken, and his body thrown out.
Sir Harold, be in just a minute, Mr. Harding.
Oh, good. Well, Norma, we checked O'Brien's movements. Everything he did after he received those confidential instructions. O'Brien went back to his hotel room, and the only thing he did besides packing was to put in 5 telephone calls. 3 were calls to the Army Department, 1 was a call to his mother, and 1 was a call to a girl. We traced that call. It showed in the hotel records. We immediately started investigating that girl, and it gradually showed up that her background wasn't quite what she claimed it to be. In other words, she'd found out that Lieutenant O'Brien was a trusted government messenger. She'd become acquainted with him and started seeing a good deal of him. And when he telephoned her on this certain night and said he was going to San Francisco, she knew it must be on important business. And as he was a confidential government messenger, she knew he'd probably have the papers with him. So she passed the word on, gave orders for the two men to board the train, and after a little while cut the electric light wires in that car, murder O'Brien, throw his body off at a certain prearranged time. Two other men in an automobile were waiting and carried his body away because they were afraid he might have important papers on his person.
Well, were those men who were running the shortwave station the ones who murdered Lieutenant O'Brien?
Yes. But they received their instructions from the woman to do it. The woman was the real murderer.
Did you send for me, sir?
Yes. I believe you know Miss Braley.
Oh. Yes, I've had that privilege.
Sir Harold Palmer.
That's right. Sir Harold to you, Miss Braley. But a counterspy to me, George Davis.
He's a counterspy? Well, he's the Canadian you sent me to watch. He's the one I stole the papers from.
And a very good job of stealing them you did, too. Miss Braley, you are under arrest by the United States government.
Oh, no. No, I'll kill you. I'll kill myself.
Take it away from her, Davis.
Get it.
While you were stealing the papers, Davis here was putting blank cartridges in the gun you had in your handbag. Killing comes pretty easy to you, doesn't it?
You rat, you swine.
I wasn't absolutely positive that you were the woman, Miss Braley, till we heard that broadcast tonight, and your spies passed on word about the revised fortification papers being sent to the coast Saturday night. Then I knew that you were the one we wanted. Because that was just a made-up story. And you and I were the only two in the whole world who knew it.
What are you going to do with me?
You're very unobserving. You should have noticed that this is the woman's section. And half an hour before we arrived, this very cell was reserved for you. This is the place that you're going to stay. Come on, David.
Oh, you can't do this to me. You can't do it. I'm a French refugee. Do you understand? I'm a French refugee.
You're a French refugee right from Berlin. You never saw France in your life. We checked your family. They live on Connectenstrasse, Hamburg.
No, you can't, you rat, you swiner. American is a swiner.
She's about the most vicious spy we've taken in since the war started, Harding.
I have a feeling she's responsible for a lot of important information leaking out, Davis. But one thing's certain. She won't get out.
Crime does not pay.
But, Kid, I can't understand it. A man with your talents, your brilliance, to do the things you've done.
I don't expect you to understand. Perhaps the usual and honest ways of making money are too dull for me and too slow.
Making money? Kid, don't you realize you've been stealing?
You know my motto by now. Never give a sucker an even break, because if you don't take him, somebody else will.
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear All American Fake, starring Sidney Blackmer. And now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Sidney Blackmer as Taylor Dunn, alias Kit Marlowe, in All American Fake. Each year, each passing season brings to Americans a new crop of heroes. For some reason best known to ourselves, Americans love to honor the young men and women who swim better than all the others, hit a tennis ball harder or a baseball farther, or make more touchdowns than anybody else. These are our native heroes. Taylor Dunn was well aware of this. He was aware, too, that Americans hate to admit that they've been taken for a ride or outsmarted at anything. And Taylor Gunn was well aware that he had a remarkable physical resemblance to a well-known American hero. These three facts were a combination which helped Mr. Dunn immeasurably in his business.
Boy, oh boy, a real Garrison finish. How many seconds left to play?
50, the announcer said. But I'll never understand why they take time out of a moment like this.
Yeah.
Seems to me with seconds down and goal to go, a team would keep hammering until they put the ball over. It's quite simple, Ragged, old man. This is the point where the quarterback wants help from the coach. So they call a timeout, and a substitute comes in with instructions.
That sure builds up my blood pressure. What a spot for a coach. Field goal is easy. Just tie the score. Touchdown and win. But State's line may hold it.
Here comes Weston out of the
We'll go in a minute.
I hope it's a line buck off tackle. They'll try that now and kick if they have to on fourth down.
Western better do something fast.
We will.
Weston's out of the huddle. All right, on the back. He has it. Ready, straight through. He's got the whole up tackle. He's over. There's the gun. That's a touchdown. Weston's game 9-6 without the extra.
Brother! How do you like that, eh?
They should have used that power play in the first place.
Hey, you know what you're talking about, don't you, Marlowe?
Well, yes. Now, in my day at Weston...
Hey, are you Marlowe? Kit Marlowe?
Well, that's my name.
That Kit Marlowe?
Well, I confess I am.
Well, I thought you looked familiar. Well, wait till I tell my boy I belong to the same club as Kit Marlowe of Western University's Rough Riders.
Oh, you think it'll mean anything to the new generation?
Mean anything? Listen to the man. He doesn't know he's immortal. Yeah. Man, I saw you make that 70-yard run against State in your last game. Never forget it as long as I live.
I'm proud to know you, Marlowe. I'm doggone proud. Oh, thank you, gentlemen. But, well, I guess those days are gone forever as far as I'm concerned. Oh. I'm strictly a businessman now.
If I'm not too inquisitive, Marlowe, what is your line?
I guess you'd call it, well, promotion. Sales promotion in a way with a touch of jobbing in it.
Any particular line?
Well, right now, office supplies, you know, stationery, pencils, rubber bands, that sort of thing.
Any real money in that?
There can be. You won't believe this, gentlemen, but right now my problem is rubber bands.
Oh, you mean you can't get any?
Oh, just the opposite. I could if I could finance the deal.
You mind explaining that?
Oh, not at all. I know where I can buy a carload at 68 cents a pound. Normally they cost 78. And I've got a customer who will pay $1.25 a pound.
That's not a bad margin, Marlowe. Why don't you swing the deal?
It's a cash operation. I've got to pay cash for the bands in the first place, and unfortunately all my ready cash is tied up in typewriters of all things.
How much do you need, kid, old boy?
2,000. No, but I wouldn't think...
Hold it, my boy, hold it. This is strictly business. I'll write a check for 1,000 if McDonald here will do the same thing. Well... or a cut of your profit.
Oh, but you gentlemen don't know a thing about me.
Don't know a thing? Why, the whole country knows about Kit Marlowe. And that means good enough for me anytime, any place.
Yes?
I beg your pardon. Is this the Marlowe apartment? Mr. Kit Marlowe?
Yes, I'm Mrs. Marlowe.
My name is Davis. Leon Davis?
Yes, Mr. Davis.
Is your husband at home?
Not right now, I'm afraid.
Oh, I see.
Can I help you?
Well, that is, no, I don't think so. It's about a business deal. I guess only Mr. Marlowe.
I think you'd better come in and sit down, Mr. Davis.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, nice place you have here, Mrs. Marlowe.
Thank you. Now then, Mr. Davis.
Well, I invested $275 in Mr. Marlowe's stationery business. Something about buying and selling rubber bands.
Rubber bands?
Yes.
Are you sure you have the right Marlowe?
Well, he is Kit Marlowe, the former football player, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Oh, then he's the right Marlowe. I remembered him distinctly from his pictures in the papers. I saw him several times, and when he told me he needed cash for a quick turnover, I let him have what I had, with the understanding that I'd get back $350 in 1 week.
And now, Mr. Davis?
Well, It's been over a month, Mrs. Marlowe, and I haven't seen your husband since. I need that money, Mrs. Marlowe. You see, it's my wife. She's sick. I thought the extra $75 would help, but I can't wait any longer. I've got to have my money.
Look, Mr. Davis, if you go to his office and ask him there...
I tried to do that, Mrs. Marlowe, but there isn't any Marlowe in the whole building at the address he gave me. And nobody ever heard of him ever being there.
And that poor little man, Kit. I felt so sorry for him.
The world is full of poor little men like that, Helen. They'll always be little and they'll always be poor.
I told him I was sure he had the wrong Marlowe. After all, you've never been in the rubber band business in your life.
Did you get rid of this Davis, dear?
Oh, I convinced him it must be another Marlowe. Someone he only thought was a football player.
Oh, he brought that up, did he?
Yes, but he went away after a while.
That's fine.
Kit.
Yes, dear?
He's not the only one who's been here.
What?
I haven't told you. I didn't want to bother you, but... Kit, they all tell the same story. They all say it was the football player.
Can I help it if some swindler is using my name?
And they all talk about recognizing you from the newspaper picture.
Now, look, Helen, my face isn't so out of the ordinary that someone with a faint resemblance couldn't impersonate me. You don't think for 1 minute, dear, that
I'm sorry, dear. Maybe I did doubt you for a minute. After all, we've been married nearly 2 years, and I've never seen your office. And I recognized you from the newspaper pictures, too.
Sorry, darling.
Of course not, dear. You forgive me?
Without the asking. Yes? Yes, this is Marlowe. Oh, hello. What's on your alleged mind, old man? I see. Glad to hear it. And the check is certified. Good. Then I can get the cash in the morning. Right. Meet you there in 20 minutes. No rest for the weary, darling. I have to go out for a little while.
Don't you ever stop working, dear?
Back as soon as I can. Have to see a fellow about some typewriters. Bye, darling.
Bye. Oh, hello, Martha. Oh, this is Helen Marlowe. I hate to bother you, but you know about these things. Tell me, if a person wanted to learn the whereabouts of a famous graduate of a college, how would you go about it? You write to the Alumni Association? I see. Well, thank you, Martha. No one special. I'm just interested in learning the whereabouts of a football player I had a crush on a long time ago. Yes?
Mrs. Kit Marlowe?
Yes, I'm Mrs. Marlowe.
My name is Bill Latigan, Miss Marlowe. I'm from headquarters. My credentials.
I see.
May I come in?
Yes, of course. Isn't this where I ask you for your warrant, Mr. Latigan?
There's nothing as drastic as that necessary, Miss Marlowe. You see, you wrote a letter. I'm the answer to that letter.
Oh. I think you'd better sit down, Mr. Latigan.
Thank you.
Now, about a letter.
Yes, to the Alumni Association of Western University. You asked concerning the whereabouts of Kit Marlowe, the famous Kit Marlowe, that is.
Yes, so I did. How does it happen that you have the answer?
Because my section at headquarters has been interested in the same problem. I'm head of the fraud squad, Mrs. Marlowe.
Oh? Well, go on, Mr. Latigan.
It's quite simple. The Kit Marlowe who went to Western University is still there, teaching physical education. And any other man who says he's that Marlowe is practicing a fraud. And if he's the man we think he is, he's obtaining money under false pretenses. In less polite language, Mrs. Marlowe, we're pretty certain that the man you married is a confidence man and a swindler.
In In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with All American Fake. Now, we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Sidney Blackmer as Taylor Dunn, alias Kit Marlowe, in All American Fake. When Helen Marlowe recovered from the first shock of learning that her husband was literally not the man she thought he was, she took the only action which seemed possible to her. She faced her husband in their living room and stated flatly,
Kit, we're through.
I think you're being foolish, Helen. We've had a good life together. I believe we loved each other. Aren't you being just a trifle too squeamish?
I'm married to you, and I don't even know your right name.
Will it make you feel any better to call me Taylor Dunn instead of Kit Marlowe? Our marriage is perfectly legal in any case, you know.
Thank you for keeping me an honest woman. Legally, at any rate.
You're very welcome.
You seem to think you've been clever, not criminal.
I don't consider it criminal. It isn't any worse than taking the sheep in the stock market, is it?
People go into the market at their own risk.
People go into any deal at their own risk. That's my way of looking at it.
Then you won't give back the money.
Why should I?
Will you give me back my good name and my pride?
If you insist, my dear. Of course, I'll always have a soft spot for you, no matter what I'm doing or where I may be.
Thank you again. Will you be getting out of town now?
On account of your friend, Detective Lieutenant Ladigan? I doubt it. There's not a thing Ladigan can do about me until someone signs a complaint. And no sucker wants to tell the world that he is one.
Thank you, one and all. You've met lovely Erica Stalzing, Hollywood's latest importation from old Vienna, and that newest scribe among the syndicated scribblers, Lou Daniels. But just a moment. There's one more guest present here tonight who I know you'll get a great kick out of seeing. Western University's most famous graduate, Kit Marlowe! Kit, come on, boy, take a bow! That's it, take a bow. Thank you, Kit. All right, Maestro, on with the dance. Marlowe, I don't think we've ever met.
No, but I know your face. How are you, Daniel?
Good. Well, as a matter of fact, I'm here by royal command. Movie royalty, that is.
Well, is that so?
Yes, Erica, Miss Stolzing, asked me to bring you over to her table.
Well, that is an honor. Lead the way.
Good. Come on along. Excuse me. Pardon me. Erica, my dear, your wishes are law. May I present the great Kit Marlowe.
This is a pleasure, Miss Stolzing.
I'm so happy, Mr. Marlowe, that you would be so good to join us. My escort, Mr. Lefford.
Well, how do you do, sir?
How do you do?
Please to sit down.
Yes, sit down.
There's so much I want to ask you.
Oh, thank you. Ask away, Miss Stolzing.
Folks, pardon me for barging in like this, but I've just got to say hello to Kit there.
To me, Lieutenant?
Well, Kit, don't you remember me? That Navy game when you knocked me cold. Me, Bugsy Johnson.
Oh, Bugsy, of course.
I thought you
Well, all this navy blue and gold braid had me fooled for a moment. It's good to see you.
Look, I've got to get back to my table, Kit. Honeymoon. But call me, will you? I'm at the Carteret. Not too early, though, will you?
Well, I'll try, Bugsy. I'll try. A great football player in his day, that fellow.
And you, how you say, knocked him cold, Mr. Marlowe?
Well, he hit the ground hard, too hard. All in fun, though.
Oh, I think, Mr. Marlowe, to you a lot of things are fun.
Knowing you is fun, Miss Stolzing.
Oh, that's wonderful. No one has said that to me before. Oscar, we will see more of this wonderful man, much more. Lou, darling, you are so sweet to bring him to me.
Any time at all, darling, any time at all. Just point the fellow out and you shall have him on toast from your Uncle Lou Daniels.
Kid, darling, you look worried. Don't you think he looks worried, Oscar?
He looks normal to me.
Look, Erica, you're wonderful, but there's not a thing you could do, understand?
But this is nonsense. When the American man says such things, it is money troubles. This much I've learned already, and in Hollywood I'm not yet. I'm right, Oscar?
The Queen is always right, my dear.
So now, Kid tells Weema, Oscar, and I will fix.
Oh, I'll be all right in a few days.
But this is so foolish. You tell us we fix. Now, today, I have money. Oscar has so much money he does not know what to do with it.
Not quite that much, Eric.
Well, I couldn't let you...
But you will. Now, you tell us.
Well, since you insist, I'm in the stationery business. In my pocket, I have acceptances on $90,000 worth of typewriters for a large company. But I don't have the cash to get the typewriters from the manufacturer.
Oh, what does this mean, Oscar? Typewriters, acceptances?
Now, may I see those acceptances, Marlowe?
Well, here they are.
Yes. They look all right to me. You sure these signatures are genuine?
They better be.
Wait. Both of you, wait. I'll be right there.
Oh. What is she up to?
Who knows? She's Erica Stolzing, the one and only. Now, look here, Marlowe. Can you be in my office tomorrow morning at 11?
Of course.
Good. I have a group of associates. We finance operations like yours. Come in then. I'll have the papers drawn in blank. We can make a deal, and you'll get the money.
Kid, darling. Here, take this. I show this businessman friend of mine $2,000. All the cash I have for now. But this is Steve. He must be caught. If you are a policeman, Mr. Latigan, you will put him in prison.
I'd like to, Miss Stolzing. I've been after him for months. Now, if you'll sign the complaint...
Complaint? Of course I complain.
You understand, of course, you'll have to appear against him.
Appear? Oscar, what does it mean, this appear?
In court, Erica, on the witness stand.
But I cannot do.
Why not, Miss Stolzing?
Oh, this will be very good. 2 weeks I'm in this country, not yet in Hollywood I am. Now I'm taken in by this petty thief.
Petty? $60,000 besides your own $2,000?
Neither one of you'll sign the complaint.
Wait a minute. Hold on, Latigan. Not quite that fast. $60,000 is big money. Now, is there any way I could avoid, the appearance in court?
Well, if we persuaded him to plead guilty, you might avoid the worst of the publicity.
All right, Latigan. I'll go along with you myself. I think our Mr. Marlowe, or whatever his name is, needs a lesson.
How about it, Mr. Leggett? Has this Marlowe ever been back here at the club?
Oh, we haven't seen a sign of him. He knows what would happen if McDonald and I laid eyes on him. $1,000 bills don't grow on trees.
You get around, Mr. Daniels. Can't you help us?
Well, the fellow's dropped out of sight completely. But it's sure a laugh. Leopards taken for $60,000. And Erica.
You thought he was really Marlowe, too, didn't you?
I sure did. But he didn't get one red cent of my money.
Look, Mrs. Marlowe.
Miss Henderson now, if you don't mind.
Right, Miss Henderson. Is there anything you can tell us of his whereabouts?
I haven't seen him since I threw him out. But his right name is Taylor Dunn, if that's any help to you.
Help to us? Holy smoke, at last we got a break. Okay, Washington, this is Latigan. Hello, Higgins. Did you find anything? So he was caught once. I got it. First offense, suspended sentence. Fingerprints, of course. Wonderful. Look, send me a copy, will you? I'll start the routine inquiries. We'll get that fella if we have to circularize every post office and substation in the country. Let's say it again. Slowly now. Taylor Dunn, served hitch in Army. Honorably discharged with rating as Master Sergeant. Higgins, you run a check for me on all recent re-enlistments in the United States Army. This'll be a pleasure, Captain. A real pleasure.
I don't know how you feel, Latigan. This must have been a merry chase. And strangely enough, he's a good soldier. A real leader in his way.
Too bad. Maybe he should have stayed in the Army in the first place. Well, it's almost 4 o'clock. Will you push him in, Captain? I'd hate to lose Mr. Dunn Marlowe now.
Right. All right. Detail, fall in. This is the operation, men. Sergeant Donald will report here from the pistol range very shortly. He'll be carrying his sidearm. We want no trouble, but we'll take no chances. You've each been issued 10 rounds. If he resists arrest, fire over his head. Then let him have it, but try to avoid a vital area. Is that clear? And don't fire unless I give the word. Very well, then.
Martin, outside the window just back of my desk. White, your position is across the road facing the front door. You'll find plenty of cover over there. Siegel, there's plenty of room behind the filing cabinet. Carter, take your post in my private office. Leave the door open a little so you can hear and see. All right, men, on the level.
You take no chances, do you?
You'll have a 45 with them. They make a nasty hole in a man. Hello, here's our pigeon.
Sergeant Dunn reporting, sir. I was told on the pistol range you wanted me, sir.
I don't, but Lieutenant Latigan does.
Lieutenant?
Yes, Dunn, alias Kit Marlowe, Lieutenant Metropolitan Police.
I'm afraid I don't understand, Lieutenant. I've done nothing.
You can save that not guilty plea for your arraignment. You're charged with fraud, impersonation, and taking money under false pretenses. You're under arrest.
I don't think you can do this, Lieutenant. I'm in the Army.
We know you're expected to find cover in the great anonymity of the Army. But the Army doesn't want your kind loose any more than civilians do. You've been released to us in my custody. Ready?
Captain, don't let him do this. You'll make me use my gun.
Martin, Siegel, Carter, show yourself. And the door is covered from across the road, Dunn.
Good tactics, Captain. My compliments.
Look out, Latigan! Don't touch that pistol! Dunn!
Sorry, Dunn. Learned my judo in the Marines. Thanks for everything, Captain. I think I'll come quietly now.
Crime does not pay. Sidney Blackmer, who was starred as Taylor Dunn, alias Kit Marlowe, in All American Fake, will be back with you in just a moment. Now, here in person is Sidney Blackmer.
I'm sure you'll be interested to learn that Taylor Dunn did plead guilty and received a sentence of 2 to 5 years in prison. And I think, too, that you had the same feeling listening to his story as I had in playing it, a feeling that this man was not basically bad, that he was misdirected somewhere along the line, and then aided and abetted by two things which are so common in our American life, the adulation of heroes and the eagerness of so many to turn a quick profit without too much worry about the exact methods. This is the kind of public carelessness, the kind of indifference in thinking and in citizenship, which are so fundamental in the growth of so much crime. Believe me, protection against crime begins not in the police station, but in our thinking. The basic responsibility for law enforcement lies not with the policeman on his beat, but with you and me in our everyday lives. Crime does not pay.
Thank you, Sidney Blackmer. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark B. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Gart. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turtis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental.
Now, Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories.
Tonight, Gangbusters presents the case of the mysterious rooming house, where robbery and death walk by night, until a woman's heel and a fishing knife brought detectives face to face with the unknown killer.
Gangbusters has asked the Honorable William T. Fitzgibbons, Chief of Detectives of the Buffalo, New York Police Department, to narrate by proxy tonight's case. Chief Fitzgibbons, you told me it's very seldom that police have to cope with the kind of murder mystery typical of detective fiction.
That's right, Don Gardner. Nearly all murders are crimes committed in the heat of passion, with the killer easily identifiable and easily apprehended. Or they are felony murders committed during the course of a robbery or burglary.
Well, Chief Fitzgibbons, I know you're going to tell us how Buffalo detectives recently conducted their investigation into a particularly brutal and baffling murder. So why don't you start right in?
All right, Bob. Suppose we begin in Buffalo about 2:30 one morning, somewhat more than a year ago. The screaming siren of Lieutenant Edwin Grounder's squad car broke the silence of the night as it pulled to a stop in front of a rooming house on Main Street, where, despite the lateness of the hour, a sizable crowd had gathered.
Stay with the car, man.
Right, Lieutenant.
Okay, police officer, coming through.
Coming through. Holmes, there's nothing to see. Go on, Moll, will you?
Hello, Lieutenant. What is it, O'Neill?
One of the roomers stabbed to death. Guy about 60 named Gahagan.
Who's upstairs?
Sergeant Clank is in charge.
Okay.
All right, folks. Stand back, please. Go on, Holmes. There's nothing.
Hello, Lieutenant. Oh, hello, Emil. You got trouble again, huh?
But such a thing should happen to me, Lieutenant.
What do you mean, Emil, to you? You talk like you're the victim.
I run a respectable rooming house, Lieutenant.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Where's the detective in charge?
Upstairs, room 10. Here, I'll show you.
I can find it. Didn't he tell you to get in your own room and stay there until you were called for?
He asked me to bring this room register.
All right, come on.
What a mess. What a mess.
Who is this Gahagan, anyway?
9 years he roomed with me. 9 years.
Oh, I guess he lost a good roomer, Emil.
Yeah, there. That's room 10.
Yeah.
Such a thing.
Okay, wait here. Sergeant Clank?
Oh, Lieutenant. Some mess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Got that register, Emil?
Yeah, sure. I got it right here.
Okay, let's have it.
Here it is.
All right, Emil. Back downstairs to your room. Where do we go?
Oh, sure, I'll wait. What else am I going to do? What a mess.
Want to look around, Lieutenant?
Yeah.
This is the ambulance surgeon from General Hospital, Dr. Hartman, Lieutenant Grounder.
Hello, Lieutenant. Doctor? What's it look like, Sergeant?
Dead on arrival. Stabbed several times with a short-bladed knife, looks like. Also kicked and beaten. There's no telling now which came first.
You'd better stick around until the medical examiner gets here, Doctor. Okay. Is this the way you found the room, Clank?
This is it.
Whoever did the job sure was looking for something.
Yeah. Look at these floorboards. Must have thought there was a loose one. Oh, didn't see that before. Well, what do you know?
Let's see that.
Heel off a woman's shoe.
Doesn't look like a woman's work, does it?
Yeah. Hey, come to think of it, there was a strange woman in the house tonight. She knocked on almost every door.
Is that so? This lift came off a spike heel, wouldn't you say?
Offhand, yeah.
Do you want to give me what you have, Clank?
Sure. Oh, first we found another room that was pretty much messed up, too. Room 1.
Who lives there?
Nobody. Empty.
Empty? Well, let's have a look.
Stick around, Doctor.
Right, son.
We'll be right back. Room 1's at the end of the hall.
First, give me a rundown on what you got.
Oh, yeah, sure. James Gahagan, age 62, resident here 9 years. Employed as a janitor at St. Paul's Church. Lived frugally, no known enemies, few friends. Supposed to have been loaded with cash. Probably what they were after, and got.
What about the woman?
Well, she knocked at a couple of doors a little after midnight. She was looking for a Bob somebody. She's about 30, red hair, wearing a black dress, long black gloves, and high-heeled suede pumps.
That the lift could have come off out.
That's right. Nobody ever heard of this Bob she was supposed to be looking for.
Well, it might have been just a stall to find Gahagan's room. Well, let's have a look at number 1.
All right. Emil told me Gahagan had one friend, much younger, a cab driver named Jackie Rigo.
Oh?
Played a lot of chess together, it seems. Emil says he didn't like the looks of the guy.
Well, it makes us even. I don't like the looks of Emil.
I'll get the light.
Wow.
Ever see such a mess? Besides room 10, I mean?
Emil says this room is unoccupied?
Since Friday. Guy named Horner had it moved to Syracuse.
Well, they really did a job on the floorboards in here, too.
Maybe they thought this was Gahagan's room.
No, the closet's empty. There's no linen on the bed. Anybody would have known this room was unoccupied.
That's why I sent Emil to the register to see who occupied the room before. They could have hidden something and come back for it.
And why should they kill Gahagan?
Well, maybe what they hid was gone. Maybe they thought Gahagan took it.
We'll see.
Lieutenant.
Oh, come in, O'Neill.
I think we've got the knife that did the trick.
Yep, that looks like it.
I found it in the alleyway between this house and the next, practically under Emil's window.
Uh-huh. You see?
Not so fast, Sergeant.
Well, Emil's way up on my list. He could have had his eye on Gahagan for a long time.
And why do you have to go to all the trouble in this room?
Well, cover up.
Well, maybe. That knife looks like the kind fishermen use.
Well, there's lots of fishing, Lieutenant.
We'll put some men to tracing it in the morning. Clink.
Yeah?
Your job is the redhead.
Gotcha.
O'Neill?
Yep.
Gahagan had a friend, Jackie Rigo, a cab driver. They played chess together. Find him and have a talk with him.
Just a second, you.
Oh, me?
Yeah. I want a word with you.
Well, you'll have to wait, brother. Mike down and check his partly.
You're Jackie Rigo?
That's right.
I'm a police officer.
A police officer?
William O'Neill, Detective Division.
Oh.
You're a friend of James Gahagan's?
That's right. What's the matter?
You played a lot of chess together, huh?
What happened?
Your friend is dead.
Oh, no.
Somebody stuck a knife in him, looking for his dough.
Oh, gee, that's awful.
Did Gahagan ever tell you he hid a lot of money in his room?
No, he never told me, but there was some talk. Hey, wait a minute. You don't think I had anything to do with it?
Did you?
Listen, I've been working. I've been pushing this hack all night.
Let's see your call sheet.
Well, sure, that proves it. Here.
Uh-huh. All right, come on, Jackie. Let's take a ride downtown.
Oh, why?
It says here, 1:10 you had a call to Genesee and Eureka Place. Not another fare after that until 2:15.
Oh, so what? Business was slow.
I'll tell you so what. Gahagan was killed about 1:30. You have a little explaining to do about that time lag in your call sheet. Let's go.
Lieutenant, why can't I go home now, please?
There's a few things we'd like straightened out, Emil.
My rooming house business. Nobody's there to take care of the place.
Would you call this redhead pretty, Emil?
Pretty, not pretty. Who knows it was dark in the hall?
You heard that James Gahagan kept a lot of cash in his room.
I heard nothing. My roomers' business is their own.
See that knife there? Is it yours?
I never go fishing.
If you never go fishing, how do you know it's a fisherman's knife?
Well, somebody said so.
I've got the cab driver, Jackie Rigo, out here.
Good, bring him in, O'Neill.
Inside, Jackie.
There he is. That's him. That's the one.
The one that what?
He knew about Gahagan's money. They played chess. You're not chess. He wanted Gahagan's money.
Listen here,
All
you
right,
old...
that's enough, Jackie.
Now, I want straight answers from both of you. If I don't get straight answers, I'll ask the district attorney to hold you both as material witnesses. You understand that, don't you?
Well, I got nothing to hide.
Nothing to hide.
If you don't cut it
All
out,
right,
you won't.
shut up.
I'm willing to cooperate, Lieutenant.
And you, Emil?
Well, sure, Lieutenant. I always cooperate.
Now, just a second. Lieutenant Grounder.
Sergeant Clink, can you step outside a second, Lieutenant?
Something on the redhead?
No, but just as good.
I'll be right out. Stick here with these two, O'Neill.
Right.
I'll be right back. What is it, Clink?
Guess who lived in room 1 a year ago, according to the register?
Who?
Do you remember that string of house burglaries last year?
Yeah?
You remember we figured it to be a guy named Ken Snyder, and we couldn't nail him with a good?
Snyder occupied room 1?
Nobody else?
Uh-huh.
You remember he got a year for car theft, and after Snyder went away, the burglary stopped?
Yeah?
All right. He's out now. Been out for 2 weeks.
You think maybe he hid the swag from those house burglaries in room 1 and it was there until last night?
When he could have gone back for it and decided to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, the other bird being Gahagan.
Mm-hmm. Was room 1 searched when this Ken Snyder was suspected of the burglary?
It was, but the burglary squad says they didn't look under the floorboard.
Any idea where Snyder is now?
Maybe start checking. What about those 2 in there?
Well, I've got a few more questions to ask them. Then I'm going to turn them out on the street in about 15 minutes. Put men on both of them.
Gotcha, Lieutenant.
And you, Crank. You get me that redhead.
So, Don. Lieutenant Edwin F. Grounder, in charge of Buffalo detectives investigating the murder of James Gahagan, had 4 likely suspects, any one of whom might turn out to be the guilty party. But the list of suspects was soon to increase and the mysterious killer came very near eluding police before their trap was sprung.
While you were telling us, Chief Fitzgibbons, the Buffalo, New York detectives investigating the mystery murder of James Cahagan had several suspects under consideration.
That's right, Don, but two of these remained to be located. Ken Snyder, the ex-convict who a year before had occupied room 1, and the mysterious red-haired woman. Detectives were not aware of the fact at the time, but the red-haired woman was Kate Coogan, a nightclub hostess. And that afternoon, she was sitting in the living room of her apartment on Elm Street, reading a magazine. There was a knock at the door. Although hardly dressed for visitors, Kate went to answer.
Okay, take it easy. Yeah, who is it?
It's Emil. Open up.
Oh, go home, will you?
You know what's good for you. You'll open up.
All right, just a second. I thought I told you off last night.
Yeah, but a lot's happened since last night. Why did you kill him, Kate?
Kill him? Me?
Well, maybe not you. Maybe somebody with you.
Hey, just watch who you're accusing, Emil. You're the one always talking about Cahagan's dough.
The cops are looking for you.
Yeah, well, let them look.
I didn't tell them nothing. I didn't tell them nothing at all.
What do you want, a bunch of roses?
Oh, be nice to me, Kate, and I'll never tell them nothing.
Just get away from me, you slime. I said let go. Guess you understand that.
You didn't have to hit me.
Go on, tell the cops. Tell them anything you like. You're afraid. You're afraid because I bet my bottom dollar you're the guy that gave it to Cahagan.
That's a lie.
Yeah? Go on, Emil. Get out.
Be nice to me, Kate, or I will tell the cops.
Tell them anything you like. I got a good story.
Yeah.
I was a little drunk. I was looking for Bob, so I gave the cab driver your address instead of his. That's logical, ain't it?
Yeah, but how are you going to explain how you lost part of your shoe in Cahagan's room? How, huh?
I didn't lose nothing.
Didn't you? Well, the cops got it.
Well, I did stop in to say hello.
Yeah.
But I didn't kill him. I had nothing to do with it. Now get out of here, Emil, before I kill you.
Oh, now me too.
Get out.
All right, I'll go, but take a tip. You better be nice to me.
Lieutenant Grounder.
Hello, Lieutenant. Sergeant Blake. We think we've got the redhead for you.
Oh, good work. Who is this redhead?
Her name is Kate Coogan, Lieutenant. She's still in her apartment.
Lieutenant? Hold on a second, Clink.
I located a guy who's been running with Ken Snyder.
Nice going, O'Neill.
And he's a fisherman.
Uh-huh. All right, Clink. Bring Kate Coogan in.
You bet you. About 20 minutes, I'll see you.
Now, who is the friend of Snyder's, O'Neill?
Harry Kennedy, a big guy. He's a puddler at Republic Steel. No criminal record, but a fisherman.
What's his connection with Snyder?
The two of them have been around a lot together since Snyder got out. Make the bars, you know.
Any trace of Snyder?
No, but Kennedy ought to know where we can put our hands on him.
All right, pick Kennedy up.
I can get him right after he finishes work.
Yeah, who is it?
Kate Coogan.
Who is it?
A police officer. Open the door.
All right, just a second.
Oh, Kate.
What do you want with me?
You mean you haven't any idea?
I haven't.
Supposing you invite me in, we'll talk about it.
Come in if you want to.
How long have you known Emil?
Oh, he's a pest.
But you went visiting at his rooming house last night.
I was looking for a friend of mine, Bob. I got mixed up and gave the cab driver Emil's address.
Must have had Emil on your mind.
I was a little drunk.
You know there was a murder there?
Yeah, I heard.
How many times before last night were you in Cahagan's room?
Never. Not last night, not ever. I didn't even know him.
So you never met Cahagan?
Well, I just told you.
Now, Kate, think. You might save yourself a lot of trouble.
Okay. I met him. Just because I met him don't mean I had anything to do with getting him killed.
And what time was it you stopped in his room?
I wasn't in his room, I told you.
How many pairs of shoes do you own, Kate?
1,000, how should I know?
Do you mind if I look them over?
Sure I mind. If you want to look at shoes, go to a shoe store.
All I have to do is call downtown. They'll be out here in half an hour with a search warrant.
Okay, I saw Cahagan.
I thought so.
But I didn't kill him. I had nothing to do with it.
You lost the heel lift in his room.
I don't know where I lost it. I lost
It was in his room. You still got those shoes?
Well, I don't throw out brand new pumps, not the way prices are today.
You would have if you had the chance.
Okay, so I would have.
Who was it with you last night? Where's this Bob?
Look, there was nobody with me, and Bob had nothing to do with it. Lots of the roomers saw me. They saw me alone. I didn't have nothing to do with it. I was looking for Bob. I met him as taking the houses.
Let's see. Come on. Let's get those shoes and take a ride.
Hi there. Can I buy you a drink?
Who are you?
You're, Kennedy, huh?
So I'm Kennedy.
I'm looking for Ken Snyder. See him around?
I don't know any Snyder.
That's funny. I heard you were pals. I heard you got chummy just after Snyder got out of O'Malley.
You heard wrong.
Well, as long as you don't know where Snyder is, you'll do.
Go on, buddy. Hit the ties. I like to drink alone.
Come on, I'll give you a lift downtown.
I ain't going downtown.
I'm a police officer.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think you'd better come along with me.
Now, wait a minute.
Take it easy, Kennedy. You're not going to get something you're not looking for.
Okay, let's go. We'll see how long you keep me.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, Lieutenant. They're all out there waiting.
You suppose they thought about it long enough, Cole?
Well, none of them was getting any happier.
Yeah.
Jackie and him were about to jump on each other, and Kate's getting as red as her hair.
What about Kennedy?
Hasn't said a word.
Still won't open up about Snyder.
Says he doesn't know any Snyder. That's all.
Okay. Let's get started on him.
Ladies first?
I think I'd like to get better acquainted with Mr. Kennedy.
Okay, Lieutenant.
All right, quiet, all. Get quiet. Sit down.
Sergeant said sit down. Go ahead.
Okay, Kennedy. Inside.
Hey, what about me? I work pretty late tomorrow.
Quiet.
About time I got some consideration. Inside, Kennedy. You'll get plenty of consideration. Lieutenant Grounder has a few questions. I don't know what you got me down here for. I don't know nothing about this deal.
Sit down, Kennedy.
I can stand. Lieutenant said sit down. Yeah.
Oh, that's better. You'll be more comfortable.
Who can be comfortable in a police station?
All right, Kennedy, I guess you know you're in a jam.
What kind of jam? I told you I didn't know any Snyder guy.
Kennedy, we've been doing a little bit of checking. If you don't know anything, I do.
Okay, if you're so smart, you tell me something.
Snyder and you got pretty chummy, huh?
I don't know any Snyder.
He told you he was an ex-con. He told you he had a lot of jewelry and cash hidden under the floorboards of a rooming house. Loot from burglaries he pulled before he went away.
What are you giving me?
Snyder offered you half, didn't he? Half if you'd break into the room with him. And to make things even more attractive, he told you about the supposed miser, Gahagan, who lived in room 10. You could really make a night of it.
Got no right accusing me.
So you and Snyder went to Gahagan's room. This is your knife. Snyder told you to kill him. You stabbed him 3 times with this knife.
No, I didn't.
With this fishing knife that you bought on June 3rd at Miller's Hardware.
Who are you trying to scare? Where'd you find all this out?
From the party that knows best. Besides you.
Got Snyder in jail.
I didn't say that.
You got him, haven't you?
Why should I tell you?
He thinks he's going to get out easy by laying everything off on me. He's crazy.
It was all his idea.
Sure, it was his idea. I was roped in.
Are you ready to tell us all about it? And the truth?
Yeah, I'll tell you. He thinks he's going to put anything over on me.
Let's get to tell us where Snyder lives.
I don't know where he lives. He's got a cousin on Elm Street. Goes there sometimes. That's all. Hey, you don't have Snyder at all, do you?
No, but we'll get him.
You made me think you did. Sit still, Kennedy. What? Sit still.
Okay. Sergeant Crank?
Yes, Lieutenant.
Get on Neil and start checking on Snyder's cousin.
Yeah. How'd you guess Kennedy so right?
It's natural. With what we had, I just figured how it'd be if Kennedy and Snyder did do it. And they did. I'll get going after Snyder.
You betcha. Right away.
Okay, Mayor, hold it here, not right in front of the house. Right, Lieutenant.
glad you got here, Lieutenant. We're all set.
You are sure it's Snyder?
Yeah, sure enough. Elgin made him from the picture. It was still daylight, and he got a good look.
Where's O'Neill?
Covering from the alley.
All right, Sergeant. Let's take the front door. It's a good bet he knows we've got Kennedy. He's liable to be set for us.
That makes us even, Lieutenant. I'm set for him.
Okay, up to the door. Knock. And stand aside.
Looks like he's got all the lights turned off.
Yeah.
I don't care for this too much.
Knock again.
I guess say we try.
Hold it. Somebody's coming.
Yeah, what is it?
Open up. We're police officers.
What do you want?
Open up.
Yeah, sure.
Watch him, you son. Watch him, you gun.
Nice going, Clay.
Doesn't look like he wanted to cooperate.
Come on, let's get him in.
Yeah, Lieutenant. I'm kind of anxious to hear that singing contest between him and Kennedy.
That, Don, was how detectives of the Buffalo Police Department cleared a real-life murder mystery. Snyder and Kennedy are now serving maximum terms of life imprisonment at the New York State Prison at Attica.
Well, thank you, Chief Fitzgibbons. And Gangbusters, congratulations to all the Buffalo detectives who participated in the brilliant investigation leading to the arrest and conviction of these savage killers. Gangbusters! Tonight's case was dramatized by Stanley Niss and directed by William Sweets, with Myron McCormick and Walter Vaughn in leading roles. Don Gardner speaking. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord.
Proudly we hail. From New York City, where the American stage begins, here is another program with a cast of outstanding players. Public service time has been made available by this station for your Army and your Air Force to bring you this story, as proudly we hail one of America's early inventors, Samuel Cope. Entitled Young Man on a Powder Keg. This is a story concerning the development of the Colt revolver, a pistol that commanded great respect on America's young frontiers. Our first act curtain will rise in just a moment, but first, young man, why not let a thought for tomorrow be your thought for today? Right now, your United States Army, the senior service, needs qualified technicians in such varied and interesting fields as radio, radar, meteorology, photography, and many, many others. Yes, you can be trained to do a job and acquire a skill that will be of great benefit to you for the rest of your life. You can also take pride in the fact that you answered your country's call in time of great need. Why not let a thought for tomorrow be your thought for today? Visit your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station and enlist in the United States Army. And now your Army and your Air Force present the proudly we hail production, Young Man on a Powder Keg. He was a Connecticut Yankee from Hartford, and his name was Sam Cope. Sam led an interesting, productive, and somewhat noisy life. During his boyhood days in Hartford, something more than a century ago, he was continuously engaged in carrying on experiments with a rather dangerous product called gunpowder. In fact, the neighbors said somewhat shakily, wherever there was noise, there was Sam Cope. Sam just couldn't stay away from the stuff, and as a result, his father, a calm, judicious man, finally felt prompted to address a few remarks to his lethal offspring.
This is the last time. Absolutely the last time. I've warned you. Your mother has pleaded with you, and Reverend Beggs has tried to reason with you. Nothing seems to enter that skull of yours but fiendish ideas in which to endanger the lives and property of the neighborhood. What is the matter with you, sir? Are you deranged?
But, Father...
Quiet! Do not butt me, young man. I want no words from you, not a syllable. There are no words in the English language, or any language, which can explain your blowing the roof off the Perkins barn. But, now be still! When you have replaced and repaired the damage that you've done, you will assist your mother in packing your bags. You are leaving for Amherst Academy this evening.
For Amherst? But why, Father?
Why, young man, why? Why, for the good of your poor mother's peace of mind, for the development of your fragile senses, the control of my blood pressure, and the safety of this city.
Come in, quickly. Did you get it?
You bet.
Look. Oh, that's dandy. Anyone see you?
Not me. Is it almost done, Sam?
Almost. You hold on to that end.
What do you suppose it'll do?
Oh, it'll make the biggest noise you ever heard. A lovely noise.
Are you sure we should do it, Sam? I mean, suppose...
Ted Stevens, I thought we swore.
I know, but... Gee, Mr. Stanton might have us sent home, and my father would...
Stanton will never know who did it. No one...
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure. Now, give me the end of that.
Oh, that's an awful lot of powder.
I wish we had more. Well, now it's all done. Nothing left to do but light her up and let her go.
We're not going to stay in here, are we?
Of course not. See the fuse will give us plenty of time. All right, now you unlock the door. We'll run around the corner and down the bank. Ready?
I'm scared, Sam.
Don't get that scared. Go on. Just leave the door open. I'll do it myself.
No, hurry up and light it.
Now you unlock that door. Coast. Go ahead. All right. Run.
As Sam figured, it made a lovely noise. Such a lovely noise that it blew out all the windows in Amherst Academy. It was young Sam's most successful effort to date, but for one minor detail. The fuse had burned far more rapidly than the budding inventor had planned, and he and his young friend were very nearly a part of the explosion. Luckily, they suffered no more than tattered clothes and singed hair, but unluckily, it enabled old Stanton to quickly pin guilt where it was so justly deserved.
Colt, in the 35 years that I've been associated with Amherst Academy, it's often been my privilege and sometimes my misfortune to see many young men come and go. I think I can safely say in all that time I have never made the acquaintance of a young man whose devilish and inhuman character, whose incredible and Mephistophelian pursuits can in any way equal that of your son. The best that can be said for him is that he's not normal. The sooner you remove him from these premises, the sooner we shall all sleep easy on our beds. And, Mr. Coates, I shall send you the bill required to repair 426 windows. Good day, sir.
Laugh all you like, Josiah. I can see no humor in this. Young fool will succeed in killing himself and breaking me in short order.
Oh, now, Adam, so the lad does have a bit of the old Nick in him.
Old Nick, you call it. He puts old Nick to shame. I tell you, Josiah, I'm worried. Worried.
So he loves guns and gunpowder, eh? Well, there's only one answer to that. Get him away where he can lay his hands on neither.
A trip to the moon, perhaps. Josiah, I tell you, he can lay his hands on gunpowder.
Not on my ship he can't, Adam.
On your ship?
Aye. What the lad needs is a bit of discipline and something else to occupy his mind. What better place than on board the Carlo?
The Carlo? The Carlo? Well, but Josiah, I couldn't ask you to do that.
Ask me nothing, Adam. It'll be no pleasure cruise. I'll sign him on as cabin boy. And have no fear. He won't find time to be thinking on the joys of gunpowder.
You know, Josiah, you may have the answer to it.
I have no doubt. Nothing better to build a man than the slant of the deck and the feel of the wind.
Uh-huh.
Adam, I'll make a man out of him, that you may wager.
When do you leave?
A short week. Then a good 2 years before we drop anchor in Boston Harbor.
Oh, my old friend, how can I thank you? How can I thank you?
Thank me by filling my glass. We'll drink to a safe voyage and a long one.
All bells of a dark, clear night, and all's well. You want to take the helm for a bit, Sammy? Hey, come off it, lad.
Huh? What?
You're a fine one, you are. What's the matter? Indian Ocean put you to sleep?
No, Toby, I was just watching the way you moved the helm.
The way I move the helm? And what's wrong with the way I move the helm? She's on a course. Steady and true.
No, I didn't mean that. It's just that every time you turn the wheel, no matter which way, each spoke comes directly in line with that catch there.
And pray tell, what's that got to do with the price of codfish?
Nothing. It's just that catch will hold each spoke in line should you want it to.
Now, you don't tell me. Now, that ain't the greatest discovery since rum. I think you better write it all down, lad.
It might not have been the greatest discovery since rum, but it was the greatest discovery in Sam Colt's life, for even in the middle of the Indian Ocean, his mind was never far from the thought of guns and powder.
And what are you doing down there behind those barrels, my fine bucko?
Oh, sir, I didn't hear you.
I don't wonder. What you got there behind you?
Well, it's nothing, sir.
I'm sure it's not, so let's have a look. Lively. Not a bad piece of carving. What is it, some kind of gun?
Yes, sir.
Can't you forget guns, Sam?
I don't think so, sir. Leastways, not this kind.
Oh, so this is a different kind, eh? And what makes it so different?
The cylinder there.
Cylinder? Oh, this bump here. I thought you just hadn't finished it. This is part of the gun. What's it supposed to do?
Well, you see, sir, last night when Toby was on the helm, I happened to notice the way the spokes on the wheel always come into the line with a catch. And
spokes on the wheel? What's that got to do with the gun?
Nothing, except I figured if a series of chains in a gun could be made to come in line with a barrel, like the spokes on the helm come in line, why, you'd have a gun that could shoot 4, 5, maybe 6 times.
You don't say. 5, maybe 6 times.
Yes, sir. And
Belay there. You'd best lay aft and give the cook a hand. As for guns that shoot once or 20 times, I'll have none of them aboard my ship. If you've got to be carving things out of wood, do it on your own time when you're off watch. Now, look lively.
Yes, sir. Aye, sir.
I'll be boiled in blubber if I don't think the lad's on to something. Blast if I don't.
Sneaker?
Ain't nobody else. What do you want?
May I come in?
I ain't standing in the way.
Yep. They said you were a mechanic.
Yeah, ain't none better. But I don't need no apprentices.
Oh, I'm not looking for a job, sir. I want to give you one.
Give me one, eh? Well, now fancy that. What kind of job could a young whippersnapper like you be giving me?
I have a model here that I carved out of wood and some drawings I've made of a new kind of pistol. I had some money and I'd like to make it.
Well, here are your 2 guns just the way you wanted them, Mr. Cole.
You don't think they'll work?
I told you what I thought when you first came in here 2 months ago, and I haven't changed my opinion.
If you made them as I asked, they'll work.
And I'll wager they'll not work, no matter who made them. You, sir, are a young fool. I hope this teaches you a lesson.
Can we try them out?
Try them out. I made them for you against my better judgment, but I'll be no witness to what happens when you try to shoot them.
We'll put them in a vise and run a string from the trigger. There'll be no danger.
You want to wreck my top?
Now, see here, Mr. Meeker. I paid you good money to do this work.
All the money I had. And I'm going to test your workmanship right here and now.
My workmanship. It has nothing to do with my workmanship. I said it was a plain fool idea, and yeah, look here, what are you up to?
Stop your screaming. Here, and run this ball of string around the corner there. I'll attach this end to the trigger.
If you damage my shop,
I will...
Be
still.
Why, of all the infernal people, what do you
I
mean?
said be still. Now, give me the string. All right, yes. Ready to give it a try. 6 shots in the gun. I'll pull the trigger 6 times. Are you ready?
You go ahead, but I'm...
Blew up. The whole gun blew up.
Just what I said it would do. Now, will you believe your betters?
We'll try the other one.
You can try 50 of them, and it'll happen every time.
We'll see about that.
Look at it. Young man, better you saved your money and went...
shut up.
You get out of my shop. Now, get out of here at once. I'll take no guff from young wastrels like you. Go on. Get out. Get out. Get out.
So the first one blew up and the second one won't work at all. It was poor workmanship, Father. He didn't know what he was doing. It seems that you didn't either. Else you wouldn't have spent all your money on a man who couldn't do a good job. Not that I agree that he didn't do a good job. This whole thing sounds quite fantastic to me. Father, I tell you it will work. Samuel, I'm not going to lend you any money. As long as you had your own money, I couldn't stop you from pursuing this madness of yours. You're nearly a grown man, Samuel. It's high time you began acting and thinking like a man. High time you settled down to some honest work. There's a job for you in my textile factory. Oh, but, Father, I don't want to work in a factory. It's not a matter of what you want. It's a matter of what you're going to do. Since 2 years at sea didn't seem to get rid of any of your silly ideas, we'll see how working in the mill affects you. Guns that shoot 6 times. Of all the preposterous nonsense.
You are listening to the Proudly We Hail production of Young Man on a Powder Keg. We'll return to our story in just a moment. It shall not happen here. That is the unspoken prayer of every man in the United States Army. That is the unspoken reason for our growing military might. But the time has come to speak. The time has come to tell of that small phrase, those 5 words, it shall not happen here. Let us speak only to those young men of America who have not taken pause to think. Let's shout it in a voice that will reach into every city and village across the length and breadth of this great land. Young man, you are needed. You are needed to help preserve the peace. You are needed to serve in your United States Army, to ensure for your loved ones that it shall not happen here. You are urged to visit your local United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station today and enlist in the United States Army. The need is urgent. Do it today. You are listening to Proudly We Hail, and now we present the second act of Young Man on a Powder Keg. Working in his father's textile mill was not Sam Colt's idea of getting anywhere. He figured that if he saved everything he made, maybe in 20 years he'd have enough to hire a good mechanic to make a working model of his gun. This thought gave the young man cold chills at where to get hold of enough money short of robbing a bank. Sam found the answer at the mill laboratory. On his time off, he devised a contraption to make laughing gas, something that in those days few knew anything about. His first exhibition was given on a street corner, and out of its success, audiences from Boston to the Ohio frontier were soon flocking to hear...
Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present to you at this time the renowned and mysterious Dr. Benjamin Coop of New York, London, and Calcutta. Dr. Coop will demonstrate for you some of the unnatural and baffling secrets he uncovered while in the Far East. Who can bring laughter to the hearts of the sad? Who can bring tears?
When the tour was over, Dr. Benjamin Cool discarded his robes and became once again plain Sam Colt. With the money he'd earned, he hired John Pearson, an excellent mechanic, to produce what old Meeker couldn't. Pearson came up with 2 beautifully performing guns, and Sam was off to England to take out patents. In 1836, he was back home again, applying for American patents. And shortly after that, President Andrew Jackson received a young visitor.
Well, young fella, my secretary tells me you've been pressing all carnal out of him to have a sit-down with me.
Oh, I guess I have, Mr. President.
Well, then, sit down. What's it all about, Mr. Colt? Is that right?
Yes, sir. I'm Sam Colt.
What you got there in that box, then?
They're for you, Mr. President.
Oh, yeah? Well, boil me and badly. Where did you get these beauties, son?
I had them made especially at my factory in New Jersey. They're my own invention. Each one shoots 6 shots without reloading.
6 shots out of one gun? Yes. Son, you come along with me. I want to try these out. And how many of these here pacifiers you making in that factory of yours?
Well, that's the thing, Mr. President. My stockholders are worried about conditions. They won't put up much money, and the methods I use in manufacturing the gun are different. They're more costly, but they're better. If we had a big order, we could cut our costs. Right now, we have to charge too much, and not many folks can afford the finished product. Well, sir, if we could get a contract from
You'd
the
like
Army...
a recommendation from me?
If you think my gun is worth it, Mr. President.
Sam, a man with your gun is equal to 6 without it. I'll write you the best letter I know how.
The letter was a good one, but the times worked. Before Sam could convince the Army that a 6-shooter was not as complicated as it sounded, the Depression of 1837 hit, closed the factory, and Sam found himself pawning his revolvers for room and board. During this slack period, he invented a waterproof cartridge of tin foil that made the loading of his gun 10 times as rapid as before. Back to Washington he went, and there he ran into a party of men from Texas who'd come east to gain statehood for their republic. One of these men was Captain Sam Walker of the Rangers.
Only one gun worth a hoot in Texas, and that's this here gun of yours, Mr. Colt. Part of my job in coming east is to buy from you every Colt you can supply us.
I'm glad you find my gun to your liking, Captain Walker, but I'm afraid the only Colts you'll find are in pawn shops here and in New York. My company's on the verge of bankruptcy, and we have no orders.
Well, that's hard to believe, Mr. Colt. If folks living here only knew what it's like out west, you'd lack no orders.
Thank you, Captain Walker. But I've decided to do nothing more with it until more people have heard of me and my gun.
Well, how do you aim to do that, Mr. Colt?
I don't know. But I'll find a way. I'll find a way.
And find a way he did. Right about this time, Great Britain and the United States were having a bitter argument over the Canadian boundary. The possibility of actual warfare loomed large in the public mind. And, fearful of the British Navy, demands were made from all sides that our harbors be protected from attack. It was at this moment that Sam Colt stepped forward with a perfectly timed announcement.
I have perfected a submerged mine system that will guard any harbor from any fleet. I move that this committee vote to appropriate Mr. Samuel Colt $20,000 to put into use his harbor defense battery.
Read all about it. Move to give demonstration at Coney Island. Read all about it.
Led on by an enthusiastic press, a tremendous crowd assembled at Coney Island to watch Sam perform. An obsolete gunboat was to be the victim of his genius. And although it was quite a step from the Perkins barn, the end result was to be the same.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're all ready, I'm ready.
And here's hoping that doggone contraption works.
And so at last, Sam's early experiments with gunpowder paid off. The country went wild, proclaimed him a national hero. And whereas once he toured in the role of Dr. Benjamin Coop, subjecting his audiences to laughing gas, he now appeared as Colonel Sam Cope, military genius, and went merrily on his way, blowing up Operative gunboats in the East River, in the Potomac, wherever he was at. And then, just when it looked like things were straightened out with Great Britain, war flared up along the Texas border with Mexico.
Gentlemen, General Taylor sent me up here with orders to buy 1,000 Colt revolvers. We ain't using no other gun in this ruckus. And the quicker we can lay hands on what we want, the quicker this war will be ended.
But, Captain Walker, we told you the Colt factory is closed. Now, the gun we suggest
Begging your pardon, Congressman, the gun you suggest we ain't using. I'll find Colt myself, see what he has to say.
Well, you can't do that.
I can't, sir. Why can't I?
Well, what I mean is, what good would it do you when you did...
Why not let me be the judge of that, sir?
It's true, Captain Walker. The plant's been closed for over 5 years. The machinery rusted. There wouldn't be time to meet your order.
Sam, isn't there some way you can do it? We need those guns. We need them bad.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
You got an idea?
Yes, I think I have. If I drew up the specifications for the gun and contracted different companies to make the different parts, you'd get your order quicker than greased lightning.
Oh, by jingo. Let's get to work. I've got the money. You draw the plans. Huh? What's the matter?
There's only one trouble, Captain Walker. I don't have anything to draw them from. I don't even own one of my own guns.
Well, I do. I most certainly do. I own 2 of them. Here, take them both and start drawing, son. We got a war to win.
Captain Walker went back to Texas with 1,000 Colt revolvers, and, as you can well imagine, they changed the military thinking of 2 hemispheres. European observers of the war sent home word that a young American inventor named Samuel Colt had developed the most deadly weapon ever seen.
Sam, I'm proud of you.
It's a big moment for me, Father.
Remember, Sam, when folks thought the city of Hartford was in danger, as long as you were around? Now look, brand new factory, lots of people working for you, orders from all over the world. And you're still just a young sprout.
I guess I must have given you and Ma lots to worry about in those days.
You sure did, Sam. Never forget the time you blew the roof off of Moll.
He was a Connecticut Yankee from Hartford, and his name was Sam Colt. He invented a new kind of gun, and that gun left its mark on the pages of our history. Sam Colt. He was quite a fellow. Plan ahead to get ahead. There's sound advice for you young men of America. And here's how you can act on that advice. Your United States Army is offering a bright future in such interesting technical fields as radio, radar, electronics, mechanics, meteorology, photography, and many, many others. Perhaps you're not qualified in any of these urgently needed skills. Well, here's the answer to that. The United States Army, through its many fine technical schools, is prepared to train you in the field for which you show an aptitude. Now, there's a great opportunity. Your opportunity to plan ahead, to get ahead. For full details, visit your nearest United States Army and United States Air Force recruiting station now. This has been another program on Proudly We Hail, presented transcribed in cooperation with this station by the United States Army and United States Air Force Recruiting Service. This program featured a cast of outstanding players. This is Kenneth Banghart speaking and inviting you to tune in the same station next week for another interesting story on Proudly We Hail.
Episode from the life of Sherlock Holmes will be transmitted to our men and women overseas by shortwave and through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Petri Wine brings you Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce and the new adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The Petri family, the family that took time to bring you good wine, invite you to listen to Dr. Watson tell us another exciting adventure he shared with his old friend, that master detective, Sherlock Holmes. And as for me, well, I'd like to tell you about a wine that's just wonderful before dinner. And that wine is Petri California Sherry. You know about sherry, of course, but do you know about Petri Sherry? That Petri Sherry is the kind of wine you can really talk about. It has the look of quality, a rich, dark amber color. And it has the aroma, the bouquet, as the experts call it, of wonderful sun-ripened grapes. And flavor? Well, if you want your wine to taste good, Petri Sherry is the wine you want. It's really delicious. Oh, and incidentally, if you like your sherry on the dry side, not sweet, Petri makes a pale dry sherry that's out of this world. Take home a bottle of Petri Sherry. Serve it by itself or with hors d'oeuvres or cocktail sandwiches. But serve it proudly, because the name Petri is the proudest name in the history of American wine. And now for our weekly visit with the good Dr. Watson. I'm sure he's expecting us.
Come in. There you are, Mr. Bartell.
Good evening, Doctor. Oh, no, don't get up. You look much too comfortable.
Take off your overcoat and come and join me.
Well, I enjoyed your story of a scandal in Bohemia last week, Doctor, and tonight you promised us a sequel.
Yes, that's right, Mr. Bartell. A sequel that took place over 20 years afterwards, in 1909 to be exact. Sherlock Holmes was living on his Sussex bee farm. It was early in June, I remember, that I received a telegram from the great man asking me to come and spend a long weekend with him.
And I'm sure you needed no urging to accept the invitation.
None, Mr. Bartell, none at all. I hadn't seen Holmes for some time, and this fact, combined with my rather indifferent health, found me on the eastbourne train a few hours after receiving the telegram. A dog cart was at the station to meet me, and after a brisk drive across the downs, I found myself once more with my good friend. He looked somewhat older than when I'd last seen him, but as he spoke to me, I realized from the keenness of his voice and the sparkle in his eye that Sherlock Holmes would never really be old. After a while, our conversation lapsed into the comfortable silence that can exist only between friends. And then, as the sun was setting, Holmes picked up his beloved violin and began to play some haunting melody. As he lay back, eyes half closed, his long, thin fingers caressing the instrument, a wave of nostalgia swept over me. I thought of the many years that we'd spent together, and of the exciting adventures that we had shared during the old days in Baker Street. Beautiful. Quite beautiful.
Thank you, Watson. You look uncommonly wistful, dear chap. You thinking of the old days?
Yes, Holmes. I was.
So was I. Uh-huh. Oh, well. Those were exciting times, but it's comforting to think that now we will not be disturbed by a jangling doorbell, followed shortly by some poor devil in trouble.
Nowadays, my greatest excitements are connected with the segregation of the queen bee and the nighttime proclivities of Charles Augustus, my tomcat.
I still find it hard to think of you in retirement, Holmes. Do you ever consider returning to active practice?
Oh, I consider it occasionally, then reject the idea. A man should work only up to the peak of his ability. I'm past mine.
Nonsense, Holmes. You're just as alert as ever you were.
Mentally, perhaps, but not physically.
Would you consider handling a small problem in England?
Oh, if it's a personal problem that affects you, my dear chap, you know I'll do anything I can.
Well, it's not exactly my problem, Holmes, but there was a charming young girl on the train. We got into conversation and...
You don't age at any rate, old chap. You're just as susceptible as ever.
No, Holmes, let me finish. She said that you knew her mother quite well.
Her mother? Come in. Oh, yes, Devers, what is it?
I'm sorry to disturb you, Mr. Holmes. Your man said I might come in. My master, Mr. Little Stanley, instructed me to deliver this note.
Oh, thank you.
He also instructed me to wait for a reply.
What confounded impudence. You tell Master that there's no answer to this letter.
But he told me I must get a reply.
You may tell Mr. Little Stanley that I will instruct my solicitors to reply to his message in due course.
But, sir...
That's all, Devers. You may go.
Very good, sir.
Oh, what did the note say, Holmes?
Read it for yourself.
Keep your filthy bees where they belong. One of my guests was stung yesterday. If this happens again, I'll have the police run you out of this place. Good Lord, what an offensive letter.
The man himself is even more offensive. He's a retired manufacturer who thinks that his immense wealth entitles him to domineer over the local residents. Oh, but let's not spoil a nice sunny afternoon by discussing him. Please continue with the story of the young lady that you met on the train.
Yes, I'd like to. Poor little thing seems in dreadful trouble. I do wish you would help her.
You say that she told you her mother knew me?
Yes.
What's her name?
Norton. Irene Norton.
Norton? I don't seem to recall. Oh, but of course. Where is the girl, Watson?
She's staying at the Red Lion in the village.
Then ring her on the telephone and ask her to come over here as fast as she can. Of course I'll help her.
I'm delighted, Holmes, but what made you change your mind so suddenly?
Your memory's so short that you can't remember Irene Adler. Surely you haven't forgotten that in the case you called a scandal in Bohemia, I was completely fooled by her.
Why, Joe Eustace, of course. You always refer to her as the woman. But how does Irene Norton fit into the picture?
Irene Adler married a barrister named Geoffrey Norton. Tell Miss Norton to come at once, Watson. She is the daughter of the woman.
Mr. Holmes, I've heard so much about you from Mother. She says you're the cleverest man in England.
Your mother flatters me, my dear child. She herself was much more clever than I. In fact, yes. Did she ever tell you about the circumstances under which we met?
No, Mr. Holmes, though she did tell me that you were a witness when she and my father were married.
Very true, my dear, very true. Though the occasion was a little, shall we say, unusual. Look here. This golden sovereign I wear on my watch chain is a memento of that day. I also have a charming photograph of your mother.
You must have known her quite well.
How about telling Mr. Holmes about your troubles, my dear?
Yes. Reminiscences are charming, but they can wait until we've dealt with your problems.
Mr. Holmes, I'm being blackmailed.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear it. By whom?
By a neighbor of yours, Mr. Little Stanley. Do you know him?
Oh, yes, indeed I do.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Holmes received a most offensive note from the gentleman less than an hour ago.
What hold does Mr. Stanley have over you, my dear?
He has some letters, some rather indiscreet letters of mine that I wrote to a friend of his last year.
How did he obtain these letters, Miss Norton?
He must have stolen them. I don't know how, but when I was staying at his house a few weeks ago, he told me that he had them and asked £5,000 for their return.
Precious me. And why should he consider your letters, even indiscreet letters, worth so large a sum?
I'm engaged to be married to Lord Weston's son. That awful man, Little Stanley, knows that if my fiancé saw the letters, the marriage would never take place.
They must be extremely compromising.
Oh, they aren't, really. But I was much younger when I wrote them. In fact, I was only 17, and I'm afraid they could easily be misconstrued.
Have you told your mother?
Oh, no, she'd never understand.
She might surprise you on that score, I think. How about your father?
Daddy's a barrister. You can imagine how straight-laced he'd be about the whole thing. That's why I came to you, Mr. Holmes.
Oh, I see. You feel that I am not so, shall we say, straight-laced?
Of course you aren't. Mother told me about you, and in any case, I've read Dr. Watson's story.
Watson, my dear fellow, Your stories will land me in serious trouble one of these days.
What are you suggesting Mr. Holmes can do for you, Miss Norton?
Get the letters back for me.
But how?
Steal them, of course.
Well, my dear, I hardly think you...
No, my dear Watson, don't be shocked. Miss Norton is a forthright girl, like her mother before her. It's most refreshing.
Mr. Holmes, you can't say you won't help me.
No, I don't think that I can say it. In any case, I have a slight personal score to settle with Mr. Lytton Stanley myself. He's rude and has no understanding of bees.
But how are you going to steal the letters?
That problem requires a little thought, old chap.
I can tell you how to do it, Mr. Holmes.
Oh, really? This is delightful, my dear. You've explained the problem and also the way of solving it. How easy a detective's work might be if all clients were equally helpful. Tell me, what is your plan?
Tomorrow, the servant's half-day off at Mr. Lytton Stanley's. He'll be alone there during the afternoon.
How do you know that fact?
My maid was keeping company, as they say, with Devers, the butler, when I was staying there a few weeks ago. She found out everything from him. My letters are kept in a filigree box in his desk.
With your enterprise, my dear, I'm surprised that you didn't try and open the desk yourself.
I did. But it's very sturdy and has a combination lock.
Oh.
However, I'm sure that you and Dr. Watson can think of some way of getting the letters, particularly if Mr. Lytton Stanley's alone in the house.
We shall do our best, Miss Norton.
Promise me one thing, though, both of you.
Oh, what's that?
Don't read the letters, will you? I'm really rather ashamed of writing them.
Oh, of course we won't, my dear child.
You're both so sweet to me. How can I thank you?
Thanks would be a little premature, but you could do us a favor.
Of course. What is it?
Your mother had a beautiful voice, I recall. I wonder if you inherit her talent.
I do sing, though I've never done so professionally like Mother.
And I've never played the violin professionally, but perhaps between us we could give Watson a little concert.
That's a delightful idea. We can't do anything until tomorrow anyway.
What would you like to sing?
Songs my mother taught me.
Really remarkably appropriate.
In the days long vanished, seldom from
Charming. Tonight, music, and tomorrow, a touch of daylight robbery.
Dear old Watson, your disguise is really excellent.
Oh, I must confess I'm a little apprehensive.
Hi, old chap. There's no need to be, I assure you. You, as Dr. Hamish, and I, as the Reverend Appleby, are calling on Mr. Lytton Stanley ostensibly in search of a contribution for my charity hospital that you are in charge of. What could be simpler?
Well, what made you decide on the role of a clergyman?
It should simplify our entrance to the house. Though I must confess that a rare touch of sentiment prompted the choice of my disguise.
How does sentiment enter into it?
Oh, surely you remember that it was in the role of a simple-minded nonconformist clergyman that I once attempted to deceive Miss Norton's mother.
That's right. Yes, I've forgotten. That woman really fascinates you, doesn't
She does, old chap. Irene Adler was one woman I've always regarded with unbounded admiration, even though she was a criminal. But the matter of this, come on, old fellow. Are you ready?
Yes?
You have the equipment I mentioned to you?
In my pocket?
Let's be off, old chap. Let's be off. He's home, why the devil doesn't he answer the door?
Come, my dear Reverend Appleby. For a parson, your language is hardly appropriate.
I'm sorry, Dr. Hamish. Here comes someone.
Yes?
Miss Lytton Stanley?
That's my name.
Mine is Appleby, and this is my friend, Dr. Hamish.
I'm proud to meet you, sir. I've heard a great deal about you.
What can I do for you?
If we could come in for a moment, I'll explain our mission.
Very well. Come into the study.
We're raising a subscription list for Charity Hospital at Paddlewaite, just across the Downs. You're a prominent resident here, and we thought that you'd like to donate a few guineas.
I'm really not very interested. I've given as much to charity this year as I can afford.
Well, it's a fine cause, sir. I'm giving my medical services 3 days a week, and the Reverend Appleby is donating his services too.
Who else has contributed to this fund?
All your neighbors, sir. We just came from the bee farm over the downs. The owner, Mr. Holmes, gave us a check for 5 guineas.
Holmes gave you 5 guineas, did he?
Aye, a very nice gentleman, Mr. Holmes. We're proposing to name a ward in the hospital after him.
Is this list of subscribers going to be published in the paper?
Oh, yes, Mr. Lytton Stanley.
I'll give you 10 guineas.
10 guineas?
Thank you, sir.
Very kind of you, sir, I'm sure.
Aye, I'll get my checkbook. It's in this desk.
Watson, the chloroform. Right.
Now, who do I make this check payable to?
Order. Hold still, Holmes. Hold him still.
Very neat, Watson.
Chloroform doesn't take long, does it?
Back a little, old fellow. She's lying over the desk. That's it.
Is the filigree box in there?
Uh-huh. Here it is.
Splendid. Holmes, don't open it. You promised that you wouldn't.
I just wish to make sure
Make sure of what was there, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Who there?
Oh, no, don't move. I have a revolver, and don't turn round. Place the box on the table, Mr. Holmes. And put your hands up, gentlemen, both of you. That's right.
I know that voice. It's Devers, the butler.
Quite correct.
Well, Devers, you needn't point a revolver at us. Your master didn't injure.
I'm not in the least interested in my master's health, Dr. Watson. In fact, if he were dead, I should be delighted.
And what are you up to, Devers?
I'm taking advantage of a situation, sir. I've been trying to open that desk for weeks. After such kindness on your part, sir, I hate to seem ungracious, but I'm dreadfully afraid I shall have to kill you. To kill both of you.
Dr. Watson's story will continue in just a second, so I'm just going to remind you that good food always tastes better when served with good wine. And if you like a red wine, say with steak or meat of any kind, you'll love Petri California Burgundy. If you'd rather have a white wine, say with chicken or fish, then by all means get Petri California Sauterne. Oh, and look, if opinion is divided in your family, if some of you like a red wine and some like white, the answer's obvious. Don't buy one, buy two. Remember that, huh? Don't buy one, buy two. But do buy Petri. Then you know it's good. Well, Doctor, that was a fine place to break off your story with the butler pointing a gun at your backs and you and Sherlock Holmes with your hands above your heads. What happened next? I know at least you didn't get killed, or you wouldn't be sitting here in California tonight telling me the story.
Elementary, my dear Mr. Bartell, but supposing I take you back in the story to the point where I left off.
Well, all right then. Take me back, Doctor. Take me back.
Very well. We stood there, Holmes and I, our hands above our heads. As Devers said...
I can't tell you how grateful I am that you opened the desk for me. After such kindness on your part, sir, I hate to seem ungracious, but I'm dreadfully afraid I'm going to have to kill you both.
Because I dislike to appear stupid at such a melodramatic moment, but why is it necessary to kill us?
For months, I have been waiting for an opportunity to steal the Kitmanjar emerald, and now you have done it for me, sir, and presented me with a perfect alibi.
The Kitmanjar emerald?
Oh, come now, Mr. Holmes, you know the treasures in this house as well as I do. Apart from the emerald, there's a superb Cellini that would fetch a fine price in the right market.
We aren't here after any valuables, my good man.
Please don't call me your good man, Dr. Watson. It's patronizing and untrue. In any case, sir, whether you were here after the valuables or not makes no difference. I've caught you both red-handed. You're completely in my power, gentlemen.
You're going to steal the treasures, I suppose, and then pretend that we were responsible.
Exactly, sir. I shall kill you both, secrete what objects appeal to me, and when my master regains consciousness, I shall explain that I found 3 men burgling the house, that I killed 2 of them, while the third got away with the loot. Who will be able to doubt my word? To be regarded as a hero. I might even have my salary raised.
Watson, I'm afraid this is the end, old chap.
What a sordid way to die. Shot the back like a coward.
Devers, at least do us the courtesy of allowing us to face the firing squad, will you?
Very well, gentlemen. Turn round. But don't try any tricks.
One last request.
What is it, sir?
I'm beaten, and I admit it. I'm getting old, but in my heyday I crossed swords with some of the greatest criminals in Europe. My life has been attempted many times, but I've always escaped. If this is to be my swan song, at least give me the privilege of shaking the hand of a man who has at last bested me.
Well, sir, I feel that I'm stepping a little out of my station, but I suppose the situation is unusual. I hope you don't object to the left hand, sir. I'll keep the revolver in my right.
Very well, Devers. There you are.
Goodbye, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Goodbye, Devers, and my congratulations for... My congratulations for being a fool.
Well done, Holmes.
Maybe getting old, Watson, but I've not lost my skill at that, too.
He went over your shoulder in a flash. Fortunately, the bullet went wide.
Where is he, Watson? Struck the desk as he fell.
Yes, he gassed his head. It's not serious. He'll be unconscious for a while.
Good, but I think we'll take the precaution of closing this desk drawer. I don't want him to be exposed to further temptation when he comes to. There we are.
Well, shouldn't we get into touch with the police, Holmes?
Police? Great Scott, no, old fellow. After all, we're burglars and we're in disguise. Two facts that would be hard to explain satisfactorily, no? We must back to the bee farm as soon as possible.
Yes, I suppose you're right. Miss Norton will be waiting for us there. We'll tell her what's happened. Poor girl, I'm afraid she's in for something of a shock.
Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, I'm so glad to see you back again. Did you get the filigree box?
Yes, Miss Norton, here it is.
But, Holmes, I didn't know that you...
Miss Watson. Why not open it, Miss Norton?
Well, I...
Open it, my dear. There may not be love letters inside it, but there's a note.
Oh.
Why don't you read it to us?
Well, let this be a warning, Miss Norton. Crime does not pay. If you don't believe me, ask your mother. Sincerely, Sherlock Holmes. Mr. Holmes, you knew my secret all the time.
Not all the time, but I realized it as soon as I'd opened the filigree box.
What on earth are you talking about?
Miss Norton was under the impression that she could use me as a cat's paw, as a dupe to commit a burglary for her.
I still don't understand, Holmes.
You will remember she asked us to promise not to open the box.
Yes, but you did so just before the fellow held us up with a revolver. What was inside the box?
An impressive green stone which I knew to be the Kitmanjar emerald.
But where's the emerald now?
I slipped it back into Mr. Lytton Stanley's desk and locked it. Brought the box here because I wanted to see your expression, Miss Norton, as you opened it.
Great Scott, and I thought you were poor little thing in trouble. Shocking.
You have to save yourself, young lady.
But I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Holmes, terribly sorry. It seemed like a wildly exciting idea, but I didn't really mean to steal it.
No, of course not. No, of course you didn't. I didn't mean to steal it for you. Miss Norton, I'm convinced you knew that your mother once outwitted me, and you presumed to think that you could do the same. I should turn you over to the police.
Please don't, Mr. Holmes. You can't do that.
I certainly could. But I'm not going to for two reasons. First, you're young and impressionable, and this may teach you a lesson. And in the second place, I have a strange admiration for your mother. But I warn you, Miss Norton, that you have had a narrow escape. A very narrow escape.
Mr. Holmes, before I go, there's one favor I want to ask you.
Really? What is it?
Could I keep this filigree box with your note inside it? It would be a reminder all my life of how we met.
What do you say, Watson?
Oh, it isn't your box to give, Holmes.
That's true, old fellow. That's quite true. But I fail to see how we can return it now without disclosing our own share in the attempted robbery. In any case, I don't like Mr. Lytton Stanley. I think we might indulge in a little petty larceny without feeling too guilty. Very well, Miss Norton. You may keep the box.
I shall always treasure it. Thank you. Goodbye, Dr. Watson. Don't think too badly of me.
Goodbye.
Good night, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
You know, Holmes, I must say you were surprisingly lenient with that girl. Do you suppose her mother put her up to the whole thing?
That possibility had occurred to me, old fellow. And yet I have a feeling that... Come in. Door's open.
Were you expecting anyone?
No.
Good Scott, it's Lytton Stanley.
Good evening, sir. This is an unexpected honor.
Sherlock Holmes, we haven't been the best of friends, I know. But you've got to help me now. I'm in serious trouble.
Oh, indeed, sir. Won't you sit down? This is my friend, Dr. Watson.
How do you do?
And now, sir, what is your trouble?
I've been robbed, Holmes.
Robbed? What was stolen?
Well, my greatest treasure, the Kitmanjar emerald, was removed from its case and then mysteriously returned loose in my desk afterwards. But there's a priceless Cellini missing.
Have you any idea who the burglars might be?
Oh, it was a gang, I'm sure of that. A couple disguised as a clergyman and a doctor came into the house on the pretext of raising money for some hospital. And they overpowered me with chloroform.
Oh, dear me. How very unpleasant for you.
Yes, well, when I came to, I found my butler, Deepers, lying beside me in a pool of blood. The brave fellow had wrestled with the thieves, but they got away. And he's in the hospital now. Holmes, you've got to help me.
The Kitmanjar emerald was returned, you say, but a Cellini is missing.
Yes. It's an exquisite filigree box in which I kept the emerald.
A filigree box?
Yes, it's a genuine Cellini. It's worth several £1,000s. Holmes, you must help me solve this business.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lytton Stanley, but I'm afraid I can't help you. I've retired. Yes, and I intend to remain in retirement. Good night, sir.
Oh, but I'll pay you any fee within reason.
My decision is final, sir. Good night.
Oh, I might have known I wouldn't get any help from you.
Holmes, she fooled you again.
Yes, the little devil. She knew that box was a Cellini all the time.
You don't seem very angry with her over
I should be, but I'm not. What splendid audacity. What a superb nerve the child has.
But you must get the box back from her.
I shall, Watson. I shall. Or rather, I shall persuade Devers to do it for me. As the price of our silence.
But how can he get it back?
Remember that he walks out with Miss Norton's maid. I'm certain that when he explains his predicament, he can prevail upon her to steal the box from her mistress so that it may be returned to its rightful owner.
That's a good idea. By George, Holmes, Miss Norton's a chip off the old block, all right.
Yes, Watson, she is, and it makes me wonder.
What about?
I wonder, my dear chap, how long I can remain in retirement. Such a worthy antagonist at large, it's a challenge. It's an irresistible challenge.
You know, Dr. Watson, I just can't get over the way you and Mr. Holmes let that girl, Irene, was that her name, pull the wool over your eyes. Why, she really twisted you around her little finger.
Mr. Bartell, I don't like to make extremely positive statements, but I'm sure that if you were in my shoes, Irene would not only have twisted you around her little finger, but she'd have had you rolling about in hoops and standing on your head.
You mean she was that beautiful?
Mr. Bartell, she was so beautiful that she'd make you forget all about Petri wine.
Dr. Watson, no girl is that beautiful.
Oh, how young you really are.
Well, maybe so, but there are lots of pretty girls in this world and only one Petri wine. That's because there's only one Petri family that's been making wine since the 1800s. And believe me, because the Petri business has always been family-owned and operated, they've been able to hand on down from father to son, the highly skilled art of making fine wine. And those generations of winemaking add up to a lot of experience. The Petri family really knows how to turn luscious California grapes into fragrant, delicious wine. That's why, no matter what type wine you wish, you can't go wrong looking for the label that says P-E-T-R-I, Petri, because Petri took time to bring you good wine. Well, Dr. Watson, what story are you planning to tell us next week?
Well, now, next week, Mr. Bartell, is the day before Christmas, so I'm going to tell you an adventure that took place many years ago and involved Holmes and myself in one of the most fantastic Christmas Eve situations in which we ever found ourselves. I think you'll like the story. I call it The Night Before Christmas.
It sounds swell, Doctor.
Oh, thank you. Oh, by the way, before I go, Mr. Bartell, I'd like to remind our listeners there's no better way to spend money than to spend it on Christmas seals. Every penny spent on Christmas seals not only helps cure tuberculosis, but it also helps prevent it right in your own community. Your purchases of Christmas seals in the past have saved thousands of lives. Keep saving lives by all the Christmas seals you can afford this year. Now, won't you?
Tonight's Sherlock Holmes adventure was written by Dennis Green and Anthony Boucher and was suggested by an incident in the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle story, A Scandal in Bohemia. Music is by Dean Fossler. Mr. Rathbone appears through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and Mr. Bruce through the courtesy of Universal Pictures, where they are now starring in the Sherlock Holmes series. Basil Rathbone's new Columbia record album, Robin Hood, is now available at your music store. The Petri Wine Company of San Francisco, California, invites you to tune in again next week, same time, same station. Sherlock Holmes comes to you from our Hollywood studios. This is Harry Bartell saying goodnight for the Petrie family. For a solid hour of exciting mystery dramas, listen every Monday on most of these same stations at 8 o'clock to Michael Shayne, followed immediately by Sherlock Holmes. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.